I'm tired of the lies they spin. They're feeding us poison, where do I begin? Every headline feels like a sin. Oh, it's a game we're stuck in, can't win. Barack signed the papers, gave them the key. NDAA took our truth, can't you see? Smith mind shadow, it's haunting me. Propaganda flows like a dark raging sea. They twist the words, make us blind. Realities are lost in their cruel grind. Who's telling the truth? Man, it's hard to find. In this media maze, we're all confined. We're rising up, can't take no more. Truth on our lips, it's time to roar. No more shadows, we'll break free. With every heartbeat, we'll make them see. Together we'll stand united and bold. No more lies, let the story be told. In this fight for truth, we'll find our way. We'll light the dark, bring a brand new day. I'm screaming loud, but no one hears. Drowning in cycles of our own fears. The truth's a ghost, shedding bitter tears. Oh, the anger rises, it's been years. So I'll sing my blues, let the world know. Fight for the truth, let the fire grow. We're breaking the chains, it's time to show. We won't be silenced, we'll steal the show. In the silence, hear the cries, voices echo, breaking tide. Every tear, a story untold. In the ashes, we rise bold. No more whispers, we shout loud. Together strong, we're a fierce crowd. With every step, we take the stand, fighting for truth. Hand in hand, let the walls shake, let the truth ring. We'll write the lyrics, let freedom sing. From the shadows, we'll break away. In this moment, we'll seize the day. We're rising up, can't take no more. Truth on our lips, it's time to roar. No more shadows, we'll break free. With every heartbeat, we'll make them see. Together we'll stand united and bold. No more lies, let the story be told. In this fight for truth, we'll find our way. We'll light the dark, bring a brand new day. I stood at the gates with nothing to bring. No medals to wear, no songs left to sing. No list of good deeds I could hold in my hand. Just a lifetime of trying to understand. St. Peter looked kindly and asked me why. I thought for a moment, then lifted my eyes. The man in the middle said I could come. The man in the middle said I belong. Not because I earned it, not because I won. The man in the middle said I could come. I remembered my failures, remembered my fears, the mistakes and regrets I carried for years. The times I stumbled, the times I fell, the prayers I whispered when life wasn't well. And then I remember the promise he made, and all of my worries just faded away. The man in the middle said I could was all he'd ever need. The man in the middle said I could come. The man in the middle said I belong. No crown of glory, no perfect song, just faith in the one who carried me along. The man in the middle said I could come. The man in the middle said I belong. No crown of glory, no perfect song, just faith in the one who carried me along. The man in the middle said I could come. The man in the middle said I belong. Not because I earned it, not because I won. The man in the middle said I could come. And if someday someone asks me, why are you here? I won't say, because I was good enough. I won't say, because I earned my place. I'll simply smile and say, the man in the middle said I could come. In the shadows of the night, when the world turns dark, I'm the one who lights the way, like a beacon that won't spark. Through the storms of life, I hold you tight, believing in you until the very end of sight. In every tear, in every laugh, I'm there to catch you. Through the pain, through the joy, I'm right by your side without a doubt. I see you, more than just a shadow in the light. Open your heart's door and let love start to ignite. I see you standing tall, even when you fall. And I see you rising up, stronger than before, never small. When the world tells you to give up and you feel lost, I'm the voice that whispers, keep pushing, don't be crossed. In the quiet moments, when your spirit feels so low, I'm the one who lifts you up, like a gentle healing glow. And the night feels endless and you can't see the dawn, I'll be your whisper, guiding you along. With every heartbeat, I'll remind you of your strength. Together we'll rise up, going any length. So take my hand, let the worries fade away. In this dance of life, we'll find our way through every shadow. Love will light the path. Side by side, we'll conquer all that life has. I see you, more than just a reflection in the mirror. Open your heart's door and let love start to grow. I see you standing strong, even when you fall. And I see you rising up, stronger than before, never small. I see you, more than just a dream in the night. Open your heart's door and let love start to ignite. I see you standing tall, even when you fall. And I see you rising up, they're small.
Sun's peeking over the mountain line. Coffee's hot and I'm feeling fine. Walking through rows that are grown with care. Sweet little flowers perfume the air. 8 years tending this patch of green. Medicine's the way I've always seen. No hurry, no race, no nosy parade. Just another good day that Bubba made. Slow your roll, take a breath. Life ain't always gotta run at full speed. Bubba sets the tone today. Everything just melts away. Coffee, sunshine, cedar trees, mountain air and easy breeze. Smiling while I'm walking around. Got my feet up on the ground. If life gets loud, I simply say, Bubba sets the tone today. Bubba sets the tone today. Hey! These ain't trophies sitting on a shelf. This is medicine to help myself. Tiny crystals, orange hairs. Nature put a little kindness there. Can change the pace. Put a smile right back on your face. Ain't about escaping where I've been. It's about feeling whole again. Turn the worries down. Turn the music up. Sit a spell. Fill your cup. Sometimes healing looks a whole lot like a peaceful afternoon. Sets the tone today, chasing heavy thoughts away. Fields are green and skies are blue. Simple things will see you through. No big speech and no campaign, just a little sunshine after rain. From the porch you'll hear me say, Bubba sets the tone today. Bubba sets the tone today.
I've learned something over the years. God's timing doesn't always match my clock. Sometimes He lets the road get so dark that when the light finally comes, you know exactly who turned it on.
I watched another sunrise from a porch without a light, wondering how much farther I can make it through the night. The silence felt so heavy, every worry on my mind. But heaven wasn't nervous, it was simply biding time. I've learned that faith ain't always shouting. Sometimes it's whispering, stand still. When my hands were finally empty, that's when God showed His will. He's never been early, He's never been late. Every blessing He's ever sent has arrived by grace. When I thought the road was ending, He days on this mountain, I've seen miracles unfold. Some came wrapped in strangers, some in stories never told. Just when I believed the gates was closing for good, another door swung open exactly where it should. So if you're standing in the darkness, thinking heaven passed you by, keep your eyes upon the promise, not the storm that's in the sky. The answer may be traveling down a road you cannot see, because the God who knows tomorrow already knows your need. He's never been early, he's never been late. Even when I question every twist of fate, this morning there's a generator rolling down my drive. But that's not the miracle. The miracle is that he's kept this old farm and this old man alive. He's always right on I've learned something.
Well, grab a cup of coffee, pull up a chair, plant another mustard seed. Let's see what grows. Coffee's on, the day's begun. Somebody says, what if, just for fun? One talks history, one talks grace. One says, slow down, let's find our place. Round and round the stories roll, every heart, every soul. Laugh a little, shake your head. Half the things we've heard ain't dead. Questions fly, but no one's afraid. Truth gets brighter in the shade. One more seed, one more friend. That's where all the good things begin. Hey, hey! Welcome to the co-op of insanity. Plant another mustard seed. Watch what faith can be. Laugh together, learn together. Love's our melody. Everybody's family. The co-op of insanity. Yeah. Hey. Some found hope where dreams had died. Some found peace they couldn't hide. Some found Jesus strong and true. Some found friends to see them through. World gets noisy, world gets strange. Seems like everything can change. But around this table, hand in hand, we keep building what will stand. Shoulder strong when life gets rough. Love reminds us we're enough. One more prayer, one more smile, makes the journey worth the while. Hey! Welcome to the co-op of insanity. Plant another mustard seed. Watch what faith can be. Laugh together, learn together. Love's our melody. Everybody's family in the co-op of insanity. We don't have to know it all. Sometimes faith's a simple call. Lift somebody when they're low. Share the light you've come to know. Every answer starts with one. Another day beneath the sun. Truth may stretch us, make us see. That's how hearts are set free. Yeah, you never know what tomorrow brings. Plant another seed. Love can grow the smallest things. Plant another seed. Hey. Plant another seed. Hey. Plant another seed. Ah, love can grow the smallest things. Hey. Welcome to the co-op of insanity. Every heart's a mustard seed, growing like a family. Love together, grow together. That's our harmony. Thank the Lord for bringing us this crazy little family. Welcome to the co-op, where the laughter never ends. Welcome to the co-op, where strangers all become friends. One more story, one more smile, one more melody. Welcome to the co-op of insanity. Keep planting those mustard seeds. We'll save you a chair. We'll save you a chair.
President Trump called me and I said, Mr. President, I said, I feel discouraged. I said, because after 5 years, and I wore this at the symposium 5 years ago. After 5 years, I'm seeing Ngami get elected. I'm seeing Spanberger get elected. I'm seeing what's going on out in California and Texas and all over. And, but they're working. They are working. It may not be on our time frame, but they're working. Just know that. President Trump called me and I said, Mr. President.
Yeah, President Trump called me, and this is what I said. Tina Peters, she's out doing a tour right now. I mean, she's only been out for a week, something like that. And they've already got her touring, talking about what she experienced and what she experienced in prison and what she experienced during her trial, everything all the way down the line. And she is, God's moving through this woman, I was kind of thinking about the angry woman. And I was like, well, maybe it could be Tina. Well, the thing is she's not angry enough for that to really signify that she would be that one of the key elements. But I think she is a key element in another way. On the legal side, I think that she's going to be a very serious contention because I believe that once this thing gets overturned and she is her name is free and clear, I think she should run for office. I really do. I mean, if she pays that much attention to a local election and seeing what's going on, and federal election at the same time, because you had the presidency was also on the ballot, that we could see a real warrior for the American people come out, and I think that could be a very interesting way forward. But we'll have to wait and see how it goes, and kind of just attempt to be patient through all of this. But good morning. It is Saturday morning, and we have a ritual. Yeah, Saturday mornings we do things a little bit different because it's Saturday morning. I mean, do you remember Saturday morning from when you were a kid? I do.
Do you remember when Saturday morning was the best part of your life?
Bare feet on a cold wood floor, sunlight sneaking through the door. House so quiet, holding still, like the world forgot its will. Tiptoe past that creaky stair, old TV glow already there. Static fades and colors rise, little worlds before my eyes. No place to go, no need to run, just me and the rising sun. Saturday morning, back in the day, cartoons and seal drift away. No phones, no stress, just living life free. Just a kid, TV, and a dream to be. Saturday morning, oh, where'd it go? We didn't know what we didn't know. Those were the days, simple and true. Saturday morning, me and you. Me and you. Superhero dreams, good guys winning, oh so it seemed. Mama saying don't sit so close, but I was gone where the story flows. Black tires rolling down the street, sun on my face, freedom underneath. Friends will call and off we fly, chasing clouds in a painted sky. No screens in our hands, just open skies. We were kings in our own young lives. Saturday morning, back in the day, cartoons and cereal drift away. No phones, no stress, just living life free. Just a kid, TV, and a dream to be. Saturday morning, oh, where'd it go? We didn't know what we didn't know. Those were the days, simple and true. Saturday morning, me and you. Now the years roll fast, they don't slow down. Life got heavy, lost that sound, but somewhere deep it still remains. In quiet light and window panes, I close my eyes and I can see that little kid still lives in me. Saturday morning, back in the day, cartoons and cereal drift away. No phones, no stress, just living life free. Just a kid, TV, and a dream to be. Saturday morning, don't let it go. Hold on tight to what we know. Those were the days, simple and true. Saturday morning, me and you. Saturday morning, back in the day, yeah, we drift away.
Yeah, I remember those days. They're a little foggy now. Oh, that's just smoke. I'm sorry. It's not fog at all. Oh, well, what? Come on. Coffee's almost done. It's been a long morning. Oh, by the way, I wanted to share something with you guys. I had a camper invader. I did. She invaded. It wasn't polite either. It was actually rather, it was a nasty altercation. She attempted to whip my butt and it didn't work. Yeah, she lost because I got her. I got her. There she is. For those of you that have not met Madison, meet Madison. Maddie for short. Yeah. Yeah, she is a handful. She is something else. She is, well, so if Ghost was a tornado, she would be a tsunami or a hurricane. Her being the key word. Hurricane. Yeah, she is. Yeah, she's something else. She is something else. I'm telling you. All right. Americans are built different. That's what he says. Here we go.
I still haven't got my head round what we experienced in the US. Because I'm from the UK, you know? The UK is a bit soft. We went to a rodeo on a casual Thursday night. Didn't think much of it. We get there, the atmosphere is nice and bubbly. We're watching big bulls be ridden. Next thing you know, there's three men trying to hold one down, and the horn, boom, launches into one guy's head. He gets flipped over, almost separated from consciousness. I'm thinking at this point, ambulance must be called. If it was the UK, ambulance would be called immediately. But nope, they just picked him up, brushed him off, sat him down, gave him a beer, and carried on like nothing had ever happened. If that was in the UK, the ambulance would have been called. The whole event would have been shut off. Americans are built completely differently. It was wild.
I like seeing the reactions of those coming to the United States and experiencing it because it's just amazing.
What's the saying? The grass isn't always greener. Let me tell you for an actual fact, the grass is 100% greener in the US, and everything else over here is way bloody better, okay? Everything. The people over here are kinder and more friendly and more willing to give you a hand. The activities out here are endless, honestly. Kayaking, mountain biking, water rafting, hiking, snowboarding, skiing. There's just so many. Paddleboard. It just goes on and on. The scenery, just look behind me. Just look at what I'm witnessing right now. Look behind me. It's incredible. In the UK, on the weekend, you'll ask someone what they're doing, and almost guaranteed they'll say, I'm going to the pub. What, the same pub that you've been going to for years? Yeah. Over here in America, people are doing different activities every weekend, getting out in the nature, seeing things, doing things, socializing, living life to the fullest, man. This country is something else. It absolutely rocks. Best believe I will be living here in the future. Best believe. Just look at this, man. Look what I'm looking at. Mountains over there, lake behind me. I love the USA, man.
I'm telling you, Fred, I cannot wait to get you over here. I cannot wait to get you over here. I really can't. You're going to have so much fun when you come. It's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be ridiculous. And you're going to have a real purple Harley to ride, not a pink one. Okay, just letting you know that ahead of time. Okay, we know the difference in colors here. Okay, it's not going to be a magenta. Okay, it's going to be like a fire engine red. Yeah. But you haven't experienced it with me, pal. Yeah, 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 you just haven't. Wait till we have safety meetings in person. Yeah, yeah. Imagine that one. Actually, we all need to get together for one big, huge safety meeting. I'm just saying, there's limits. Okay, there are limits in life. Okay, and um, I don't know what they are anymore, or any less. Oh, by the way, I was kind of sneaking a safety meeting there while I said that. Yeah, yeah. So, if you're a follower from outside Ireland, please share this and show Britain, Europe, and the world that Ireland is fighting back against the massive migrant plantation of Ireland. The fighting Irish are rising. And I think that that's great. It needs to happen.
Chance of getting out, folks. The Liberals got to eat here. Doubles of Connor Street. Amazing scenes. Right under Daniel Connor statue, the spire, the GPO are going backwards. Fly colours everywhere. Whose country? Our country.
Yep. So that's happening over there. Over there. The Remigration Act. Here we go. Andy Ogles.
We're talking about it. Andy and other true patriots have got two bills going through, folks. You just saw the first one. He talked about the Remigration Act, and then you have the Assimilation Act. Both those acts need to get passed because it will make us vet people before we even let them in and make sure they want to become Americans and assimilate. And the remigration one, true. If you've been ripping us off and you're a crook, your butt's going home. Can we get those two passed, Andy? Thank you.
Yeah, well, you think about Mamdani, right? He's someone who lied on his N-400. He's here on false pretense. Under my bill, remigration, you could denaturalize and you could deport him. You're welcome, New York, right? Like, this is the salvation of New York, is that people that don't belong here shouldn't be here. We should be kicking them out. It's that simple. And this is a kitchen table issue. People are sick of this crap. We're going to work. We're working hard. American men and women are, working to make ends meet to provide for their families. Meanwhile, we have people coming from third world countries stealing from us. I'm sick of it, Dan.
We're talking about it. Andy and other true patriots have got two bills going through, folks. You just saw the first one. He talked about the Remigration Act, and then you have the Assimilation Act. Both those acts need to get passed because it will make us vet people before we even let them in and make sure they want to become Americans and assimilate. And the remigration one, true. If you've been ripping us off and you're a crook, your butt's going home. Can we get those two passed, Andy? Thank you.
Yeah, well, you think about Mamdani, right? He's someone who lied on his N-400. He's here on false pretense. Under my bill, remigration, you could denaturalize and you could deport him. You're welcome, New York, right? Like, this is the salvation of New York. Is it?
That's the. I kind of saw that one coming, but it's I wanted to replay the beginning of that because I think I missed a little bit of it when I played it the first time. So yeah. No, we'll have a place for the gathering, Sparky. Just have to get this world crap done with, so that we have something to really celebrate. After all these years. So Clandestine says, fun fact. The Communist Control Act of 1954 was passed into federal law to combat the Communist Party of the United States. CPUSA was labeled an illegitimate party that was the arm of a foreign conspiracy seeking to overthrow the U.S. government. Sound familiar? That's what we are witnessing right now with the Democrat Party in the present-day United States. The DNC is no longer a legitimate U.S. political party. These are unlawful enemy combatants pretending to be a political party with intent to overthrow the United States government. They are not operating on behalf of the American people. They are part of a foreign conspiracy which is trying to infiltrate and subvert the United States from within. The DNC, or left, was the entry point for communism to reach the United States under the guise of progress. This is not a game. The Dems are quite literally enemies of the United States, trying to exterminate and replace the American people. And the only way this country prospers is if we expel this illegitimate party from our nation, exterminate this poison left-wing ideology from our society, and hold all the traitors to the fullest extent of the law. So the act has several core sections. Finding of facts, section 2. Congress declared that the CPUSA, through pretending to be a normal political party, was acting and instrumentally of conspiracy to overthrow the government of the United States, function as an authoritarian dictatorship within a republic, demanding rights for itself while denying liberties to others, took orders secretly from foreign communist leaders rather than evolving policies democratically, posed a clear and present and continuing danger to U.S. security. Therefore, the Communist Party should be outlawed. And I think that's pretty simple. I think it's pretty dang clear. We just deal with what we got to deal with. Give me 1 second here. I got to adjust the volume on my phone here real quick, or else somebody be getting dinged throughout the day. And nothing against any person or anything. It's just that when that volume goes off next to my ear, I get distracted, and it kind of drives me a little crazy. There we go. Let's turn that down to there. And I think I got it. The only thing that'll be loud is if the phone rings, because that I do need. All right. Grandpa's free advice. CNN's Abby Phillips just exposed the scale of the crisis on live TV. Here we go.
In this country now facing deportation. Here's how the brilliant host of CNN framed the story.
Other things. For the Haitians, however, this means that, hundreds of thousands of them, if you take the entire pool of Haitians and Syrians together, it could be 1 million people are affected by this, could be stripped of their protective status, stripped of their work permits, and told to go home. And
it could be 1 million people. It's like, thank you for reinforcing why this is such an urgent problem that needs to be addressed. Think about that. Think about all of the people who have come to this country illegally. Honestly, Haiti and Syria, sort of a pimple on the butt of the larger problem. When you look at all the other countries who have nationalities that have flooded in, and she's conceding right there in front of God and Scott Jennings and everyone that it's 1 million just from Haiti and Syria. We can't begin the deportations fast enough in this country now facing
So, and that is Grandpa's free advice. Common sense, constitutional, conservative, MAGA, Maha, America First, 100% natural born citizen. If I like it, then I agree with it. Follow, then unfollow, and block. All right. Here we go with Tom Holman.
We had a record historic year with deportations, but now we got 10,000 more agents on board, or it should be on board by the end of next month. Wait till next year.
Yeah. Yep. It's 10,000 more ICE officers on the average street. Yep. Here we go. MJ Truthalter put this out in middle school, secretly admits he violates parents' wishes and secretly uses students' preferred pronouns behind the parents' backs.
As requested by the parents, Mick Siegel acknowledges that he is aware of this, but then immediately admits that he frequently breaks this rule and will happily encourage young children to use gender-fluid pronouns, and will then secretly use those pronouns in one-on-one interaction without parental consent, and even states that he will keep it secret from the parents, asking the minor what name or pronoun he should use when talking to the parents.
Kids want to be validated and supported, and I feel a little bad saying it as a queer adult and also under the trans flag of non-binary or something. A lot of the kids, it's a little trend for them to figure things out, and then they're like, it actually wasn't for me. we legally cannot call them a different name or pronoun unless the parent puts it into the online text. Now, do I break the law and still call kids what they want me to call them? Yes. But I also have to have the conversation of what do I use when I have to email home, or what do I use with parents? So in class, it'll be this, but if your mom emails or I have to call mom or what do I use to like, that's an annoying aspect that I always have to keep like in the back of my head of, all right, love you, support you, I'm here to back you up, but also legally I have to protect my child.
Yeah, let me tell you, you're lucky I don't have a kid in your class, because as soon as I found out you were doing that, I would be coming and whipping your ass. It would be that simple. It really, really would, in fact, be that simple. All right, little Barbara Boyd for our Saturday morning wrap up. Yeah, Prometheus in action. Here we go.
This week, 3 candidates backed by New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani swept to an upset victory in New York's congressional primaries. At victory parties, audience chanted, "You are next," as House Leader Hakeem Jeffries appeared on the TV screen. And a Republican rep even commented, Democrats have a Bolshevik revolution going on in their primaries. But the New York Times said the win cemented Mamdani as, and I'm quoting, the unquestioned political kingmaker of the nation's cultural and financial capital. And all 3 winners are from the DSA, the misnamed Democratic Socialists of America. So check out this headline in Politico. Republicans celebrate socialist wins in Democratic primaries. Many Republicans think it's a good development. They say it will make the midterms easier to win because Americans don't like socialists. But nobody, not the Times, not Politico, is going to show you what I'm going to tell you about in this video. It will help you make sense of what Mamdani and his communists are really for, and the truth about how they're being used and who is using them. I'm Barbara Boyd. I've spent decades now tracking how political movements are manufactured and deployed against nations that resist. Today, I'm going to first talk about the DSA's actual program. Then we'll talk about the dead communist writer whose ideas are being retooled right now by both the DSA and, get this, the Council on Foreign Relations. And finally, how the modern British financial empire has always used communists for its goals. But before we dig in, hit that like button right now and share this video. It increases our reach on YouTube. The economic platform, retransit, rent freezes, tax the billionaires, that's the DSA sales pitch. But the man at the center of their real thinking is right there in their internal educational program. That's the name, Antonio Gramsci. And he's a communist, not a socialist. He proposed that only ruthless attacks on culture, not economic benefits for workers, will make revolution possible. Journalist Matt Taibbi found the clearest statement of what the DSA's real target is. One of the new DSA members of Congress, Darzilia Chevalier, was a member of the Columbia University Apartheid Disinvestment Group, i.e. disinvestment in Israel. The group that posted the since deleted Instagram saying, "We are Westerners committed to the total eradication of Western civilization." Now, if you heard a candidate say that out loud, you'd think they'd lose in a landslide. So why did they win? Because the real work happened years before Election Day. The DSA has spent years building what they call a hegemonic counterculture in New York City, attacking men, the patriarchy, Christianity, the police, closed borders, and the idea that the American Revolution is anything other than a story of racist land theft. That attack has been everywhere since Barack Obama's presidency. It's been taught in the schools for 2 generations now. Taibbi describes the movement's base as largely young, media-savvy professionals, grad students with Instagram accounts, he calls them. Much of this city's minority and working population oppose them. One of the incumbents they beat was the chair of the House Hispanic Caucus, Representative Adriano Espelay. The other, Dan Goldman, led the impeachment efforts against Donald Trump. They threw him out because he supports Israel. Just this month, the DSA published a platform that does away with the Constitution itself. It scraps the U.S. Senate, defunds the Department of War, grants amnesty to all immigrants, and replaces the president and the Supreme Court with bodies chosen by and subordinate to Congress. And they didn't win, as Taibbi points out, just because they caught the cultural attack wave Barack Obama set into motion. They won because sections of this nation's elites are enamored with them. And like communist movements throughout history, they have friends in high places who are using them for their own purposes. Now, you'd think that Karl Marx would be the DSA's patron saint, but instead it's Gramsci, a man who died in prison in 1937. And Gramsci's name is also in the opening sentence of the Council on Foreign Relations' new blueprint for what they're calling a post-Trump world. We're going there next, but if you're intrigued with what I'm saying here, you need to be on board with our free newsletter. There's lots more of the real story there. The link is in the description. In 1926, Antonio Gramsci, the General Secretary of the Italian Communist Party, was arrested by Mussolini's fascist government and sentenced to 20 years in prison. Sick, shunned by the Soviets, by any reasonable expectation, he should have died in that cell, forgotten. He didn't. He survived 11 years and produced 33 handwritten notebooks, over 2,000 pages, that revived Marxist theory after the Russian model failed to spark additional revolutions. Every modern insurgent movement, from the Frankfurt School's New Left to critical race theory to the DSA, traces its intellectual ideas to those notebooks. What did Gramsci say? He said, revolutions fail when you seize political power but leave the culture intact, the national culture intact, because the people still believe in the civilization you overthrew. So the revolution has to happen in the culture first. You have to make people hate their own culture, their own civilization, not disagree with it, hate it. And then once the culture is hollowed out, the political takeover is just a cleanup operation. Sound familiar? This is the explicit theoretical foundation of the DSA's educational program and much of what an entire generation of our young people have been taught. But how did those notebooks escape Mussolini's prison? His helper was Piero Sraffa. Sraffa was an Italian Marxist economist. He had lived in London since the 1920s. He held a research fellowship at Trinity College, Cambridge, under the direct sponsorship of Lord John Maynard Keynes. Keynes, the man whose monetary theories were designed above all to preserve the power of the City of London and the British Empire, the chairman of Britain's Malthusian Society, the vice chairman of the Eugenics Society, the sponsor of a Marxist. Keynes' protege kept the most dangerous Marxist theorist in Europe supplied with books, maintained his connection to the outside world, arranged the publication of the notebooks, and was, by every account, the last friend Gramsci had before he died. Now, starting this May, the Council on Foreign Relations, the sister institution to London's Chatham House, the controllers of our foreign policy for years, launched a multi-year project to define what comes after Trump. They're writing papers to build what they call a consensus for the, quote, post-Trump world, i.e., for their return to power. They expect that return to come soon if the Democrats take the midterms and paralyze Trump's agenda. Their urgent planning doesn't indicate that they expect the Vance-Rubio ticket will continue the Trump revolution for 8 years after 2028. Guess who the lead essay cites in its first sentence? Antonio Gramsci. CFR senior fellow Charles Kupchan opens his essay with Gramsci's most famous line, written from prison in 1930, about a world where the old order is dying and the new cannot yet be born, and, quote, a great variety of morbid symptoms appear. In his piece, Kupchan calls Gramsci an anti-fascist. Think about that. Not a communist, which he was, an anti-fascist, the justification of our current street thugs for all of their violence. For Kupchan, the morbid symptoms consist in the existence of one man, Donald Trump. His essay attacks the reindustrialization of America as, quote, delusional. The broader CFR series attacks tariffs, protectionism, and sovereign national movements across Europe and the United States. The CFR wants to reform the globalist system, not end it. They acknowledge the population subjected to it have come to hate it, but they insist any reform must preserve every feature that has given them power and made them rich. So why is Gramsci the shared reference point right now at the same moment for both the revolutionary DSA left and the Establishment Council on Foreign Relations? Well, doesn't that really signal their intent? They're clearly not planning a peaceful transition of power led by a fair election. That answer also takes us to London and some surprising history about what communism is and how it has been used by British elites. Like Gramsci, Karl Marx's works gains prominence because of his British sponsors. Marx lived in London for 34 years. He wrote Das Kapital in the reading room of the British Museum. He's buried in Highgate Cemetery in London, and he was funded throughout his life by Friedrich Engels, a wealthy industrialist based in Manchester, and David Urquhart, a son of the British aristocracy. In his book, How the British Invented Communism and Blamed the Jews, author Richard Poe documents how British intelligence deliberately hosted anarchists and revolutionaries in London and used their theories to launch color revolutions against the empire's rivals. In Marx's case, the primary target was Russia, although he took shots at Hamilton and Friedrich List too. When Marx's theory lost its revolutionary punch after Russia, the British imperial network turned to Gramsci's vision, cultural Marxism, the war against Western civilization from within. British imperial networks fund and protect radical intellectual movements, not because they believe in them, but because they are useful. Communism aimed at Russia, a counterculture aimed at America beginning in the 1960s. The street thugs are there to do the mop-up. Which brings us to today. What Donald Trump's entire economic program represents is the most serious revival of the American system of political economy in generations. Reindustrialization, tariffs, sovereign manufacturing, a foreign policy based on the dignity of nation states rather than submission to globalist institutions. Like our forefathers, his program is based on the best that Western civilization developed in terms of government and statecraft. But even more than that is the revival of the American spirit, which dares to do big things, to meet the biggest challenges, to conquer new frontiers. It's what the highest moments of Western civilization have been about. This is a deadly threat to the City of London's survival. Now, 3 DSA members committed to the eradication of Western civilization are heading to Congress. The elites at the Council on Foreign Relations are planning for a post-Trump world. They're both on the same page. The DSA is just one of their insurgent instruments. Think back to all of the attacks against Donald Trump during his first term. Where did they come from? London. They understood better than anyone else the threat that Donald Trump, his American system economics, and his revival of the American productive spirit represented to their system. So how do we defeat this? Probably not, as Republicans suggest, by constantly flogging how crazy these people are, although they are crazy. There's a lot more we have to do. We have to lift people's eyes to the new world the president and his cabinet are building. We have to make the culture Donald Trump is recreating, American culture, self-conscious to our people. It's the culture that saw no challenge as unbeatable, that sought out new frontiers and created and invented our way out of every difficulty. The American system of economics, implemented by Hamilton, Lincoln, McKinley, Roosevelt, and in the run-up to World War II, produced a culture of optimism, a culture which lived to give the next generation a better future. It was based on nurturing the minds and productivity of the working class in future-oriented projects, not make-work projects or handouts. Most people don't have a clue about this because the Republicans who should be amplifying the president's policies and accomplishments are, in many cases, stuck in the same old dead world the CFR is seeking to resuscitate. This is an urgent mission as the midterm clock is ticking. We need to go fast. Please like and share this video as widely as you can. And if you haven't already, become a paid subscriber to our newsletter and contribute as much as you can. This has been your Saturday Update. Thanks for listening.
Please take a moment and subscribe to our free newsletter at prometheanaction.com.
Yeah, Barbara Boyd. Barbara Boyd. All right. Federal judge ordered Elon Musk to testify, accusing him of defrauding voters in swing states before the 2024 election.
Hello, I'm Jenny Ray LaRue, the director of CalDoge. Today, CalDoge is releasing the first of many investigations into fraud, waste, and abuse in California. Do we have a good one for starters? Or maybe better stated, Steve, a bad one if you're a California taxpayer. Today, our spotlight is on Elevate Youth, based right here at Ground Zero in Sacramento. Elevate Youth is innocently named. It is anything but innocent. Elevate Youth is a financial intermediary, one of many in California's nonprofit web that has received $370 million in funding since 2019. Elevate Youth is under the umbrella of the Center at Sierra Health Foundation. Here's the rub. According to Proposition 64, passed by California voters, to both legalize cannabis sales starting in 2018 and approve tax funds and the use of those funds for specific purposes, designated funds specifically for substance abuse prevention for youth were set aside. My question was, is this where the $370 million in tax funds is going? A few organizations in the mix are legitimate. Detailed analysis by our team, going line by line and grant by grant, found that most are not. Who are these organizations? What do they do? Collectively, they focus on social justice youth development, civic engagement, and power building, a far cry from substance abuse prevention. One way that Elevate Youth is hiding the build of their get out the vote machine to keep failed Democrats in power is by distributing the funds through micro grants with no oversight, over 500 in all, with average grant sizes of $700,000. Here's the wild part. Gavin Newsom and the career politicians running the legislature aren't even trying to hide it. They're not afraid of you. They're not afraid of us. Newsom says that there's no money for a new jail in Shasta County or money to rebuild the Palisades after the historic fires or to fund schools and police and firefighters in your neighborhoods. He's openly passing millions of dollars in behested payments, saying we want no insight, no oversight, and no control over these to build the Democrat voter machine for obvious reasons. Here are a few specific examples of how this is happening. Elevate Youth granted a $1 million grant for, quote, civic engagement to the Young Invincibles, which has stated values of young adult power, equity, community, collaboration, and bold ideas. FAIR, for a nonprofit, says and does nothing related to substance abuse prevention, the stated goal of this specific money. $1 million given to the Jakara Movement Grant for SICK, youth empowerment and voter registration. Specifically, nothing related to substance abuse prevention. $800,000 to Asian Refugees United for LGBTQ plus Asian storytelling, again, with no connection to substance abuse prevention. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There are many more examples that I could give you. While our communities are suffering, the budget explodes. This is where your money is going. Not just that, Elevate Youth doesn't distribute these grants for free. No, the CEO at the Center for Sierra Health Foundation makes over $600,000 a year. His compensation has ballooned by 50% since this program started. In fact, they were raking in tens of millions of dollars and now are raking in hundreds of millions of dollars. His compensation has accelerated just as the funds have grown for the organization. They have taken in millions of dollars of administrative fees to run these programs. In 2 weeks, with a team of volunteers and for free, might I add, CalDoge figured out where the money is going. It's certainly not going to funding and technical assistance for organizations that are developing or increasing community substance use disorder prevention, outreach, and education focus on youth. That is directly derived from the Proposition 64 language on the bill, even from the Sierra Health Foundation website. This has to stop. The golden ticket, Steve Hilton, Gloria Romero, Herb Morgan, and Michael Gates would never let your tax dollars get wasted like this. Money for substance abuse prevention will go one place, to substance abuse prevention, and improper payments will stop immediately. Here's my question. What can you do today to make this happen? First, call your legislator and tell them to stop funding that is going to Elevate Youth immediately. Ask the state controller to open a full investigation into the source of funds, all grant recipients. Demand accountability. If we don't, they will continue to use our tax dollars to line the pockets of Sacramento insiders. In 16 years of one-party rule, there has been no accountability in Sacramento. That stops right now. If you have a tip on fraud, waste, or abuse, or if you'd like to join our team, go to califraud.com to become a part of change in California. Together, we can build a future where the most powerful economy in America, which is right here in California, does not just benefit the powerful, it benefits all of us. Thank you very much.
Let me just break down here what's going on. George Soros funded a ballot measure called Prop 64 in California. The money was supposed to go to substance abuse, and instead, that money was redirected $370 million into registering Democrat voters. Now, let's contrast that with what's going on with Elon Musk. During the election, it was very open and transparent that Elon Musk was doing giveaways for $1 million to register voters. So now Democrats have a big issue with that and they want to hold him accountable. So what really happened here? The giveaway required people to register as voters in certain swing states. He very clearly said this. The plaintiffs say that it was an illegal vote buying scheme or a fraudulent lottery, but it wasn't, because Elon Musk said exactly what was going on. He was registering voters, and you had a chance to win $1 million in swing states. It was very clear. The judge allowed the fraud case to proceed. Of course they did, because they want to hold Elon Musk accountable for this. But who did something worse? Elon Musk did a transparent $1 million lottery to register voters and told them what was going on. Or let's look at George Soros. George Soros funded a fake ballot measure, and if you look at, I did a recap of this, it was a completely fake ballot measure that claimed to help victims of substance abuse. But it wasn't. All that money, once they passed it, was redirected into registering voters for Democrats. So who is the person that should be held accountable here? Very clearly, it's George Soros, but of course it will be Elon Musk because he's conservative.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was Madison there that I was showing you guys. Yeah. She's just making herself at home again. Yeah. Like she doesn't have a doghouse. Well, she doesn't have a bed. I ran out of dog beds and I've had to get rid of quite a few because of the harsh winter that we had. So she doesn't have a bed yet. She's going to have to use mine, I guess, for now, till she pees on it, and then she's out of here. She'll be gone. Just saying. Just saying. And she'll be gone. All right. The disgusted trucker, I think.
Well, I'm Jenny Ray LaRue.
Disrespected trucker. I'm sorry. Disrespected trucker. Here we go.
Morning. So there's this video circulating around a couple in suburban Minneapolis, St. Paul area. He got fired from his job because some Somalis came into his neighborhood and they were acting like they act. And he said some things to them that a liberal with suicidal empathy would consider racist. But the fact of the matter is you don't see the rest of the video. You don't get to see what happened that led up to that interaction. And I, for one, and a lot of other people feel the same way I do. We're sick and fucking tired of these people coming into our country, disrespecting us, blatantly disrespecting us, and think that there shouldn't be any consequences. Well, I'm telling you right now, The water is boiling over. There are going to be consequences now, and we are going to say words that are going to hurt your precious little fucking feelings. We don't want you here no more. You have ruined our country was so great before you people started flooding into it, making our country your same shithole country that you're fleeing from. You come here, 82% of you are on some sort of welfare, and you don't want us to say anything? Get the fuck out of here. I'm the one paying the taxes for you to be on the goddamn welfare. So if we sound a little insensitive or a little racist, fuck you and your feelings. I don't care. We don't want you here. Go home. I wouldn't go to your country and expect you to take care of me where I didn't have to work and I could just sit here and disrespect your culture all day long. I am done with this shit. You guys, if you go down through some of my posts, you'll see the go send, what is it? Give, send, go, or whatever the fuck it is. For Mark and his family, please go donate. Show them our support. Because we're sick and fucking tired of you garbage coming into our country. You don't assimilate. You just live free off of our tax dollars. And this shit's got to stop. And it's got to stop today. Have a good day, everybody. God bless.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of happening all over the place. Got a neighbor up the road that was telling me that he lost his job because he was a Trump supporter. And his wife got fired from the Kaiser Hospital. And it's funny, Kaiser Permanente. She was a nurse there, and she made some comments in regards to the illegals getting health care where Americans were being turned away. And because she spoke up about it, they fired her. So she's like, I think they're looking at Florida or Louisiana as their next move to place because of the fact that she can't get in with any hospitals here because they're all run by libtards. And it's pretty messed up. You know, she wasn't making a political statement. She was saying, you know, why are we not helping our own people? Why are we only helping those from Latin countries or other countries? And you know, it's getting to be pretty reckless in how they're handling a lot of this. But I think what it's going to partially boil down to is that there's, you know, the consequences for doing such is going to be such a loss of finances and support within the business that they're going to end up folding, and then the hospitals will have to be rebuilt. But this is the thing, is that they should be rebuilt. You know, with the amount of money that we have to spend to go into the hospital and have something taken care of, emergency surgeries or whatever, it is absolutely ridiculous that everything else gets put off, you know, for all these people that come in from overseas. It automatically goes on the taxpayers' back to fund all of their medical relief. And that's, frankly, my give a fuck is broken. It is. I said it. Okay. I said it. I mean, I was trying to be nice about it, but my give a fuck is broken. It is. It just is. All right, here's a little Ben Berkwam.
This video is for all the idiots out there who are screaming about the temporary protective status being taken away from the so-called Haitians and Syrians that illegally entered our country under Joe Biden. This is a tiny fraction of some of the souvenirs that I gathered over the 4 years of Joe Biden's border invasion, and really not Joe Biden, but the string pullers that were running Joe Biden's office. Bag after bag after bag, passports from all over the world, from every country that I know of, and some countries I'd never heard of before. I'd never heard of Eritrea before. I mean, I probably should have. But how many of you had heard of Eritrea before that? Passports all over the world, all dumped. India, Pakistan, China, Ukraine, Got the carpet shoes. These were actually purchased, but I have a whole bag of additional carpet shoes and everything else that was dumped. These were purchased in Sonaita, Mexico, because the market is so good down there for illegal aliens that they have an entire town dedicated to selling equipment to come into our country illegally. Some of those are carpet shoes. This is what you put over your shoes if you're out in the desert and you don't want Border Patrol to be able to track you through the desert when you're coming in illegally. And that's the difference. To all of the Democrats and the people that are screaming out there how unjust this is, our government's primary responsibility when they swear their oath is to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States and protect the citizens of the United States. That's their job. When you allow this, I collected thousands of IDs during this time. I've turned in hundreds of them to the federal government to try to track some of these people down. In particular, the ones claiming that they were coming for political asylum, yet they dumped their IDs, many of them from countries where they'd already been given protection. And this is the lie that the Democrats don't want you to know. The vast majority of the so-called Haitians that came into our country illegally came from Chile and Brazil. Out of all the years I was in Colombia and Panama and Guatemala and Mexico, I did not meet a single Haitian that was coming from Haiti. All of them had been living for the last 5 to 10 years in Chile and Brazil. They had left Haiti. They had moved to Chile and Brazil. They had been given protective status. The only reason they were coming to America under Joe Biden was because the open borders Democrats invited them. They said, hey, come on up. We'll let you in. The NGOs like Catholic Charities and Lutheran Social Services and Jewish Family Services and the rest of them had a pipeline that was working with our federal government, training illegals how to game the system. We interviewed them in Acuña, Mexico. Why they were dumping their IDs. They said they were told they had an easier time coming into our country if we didn't know they had already been given protective status. And that's true. If you've already been given protective status, then you don't qualify for it in America. So they dumped their IDs, came in illegally into our country. The NGOs that were training them how to game our system, including the United Nations, by the way, these so-called humanitarians, this is a rape kit from Nicocli, Colombia, that was given out by the United Nations and CARE, because they care so much. These were filled with birth control, morning after pills, and condoms. Oh, yeah. And a whistle. Just in case you were being raped, because they knew you were going to be raped when they sent you from Colombia through the Darien Gap. They knew you were going to be raped. But instead of saying, don't go in there, this is what the United Nations, OIM, they cared so much that they just handed out rape kits and said, go ahead, go get raped. Blow the whistle. Try to get the condom on. That doesn't work. Blow the whistle. See what happens. That's the level of humanitarianism. They didn't care about the people. They didn't care about any of these people. They cared about the money that it was putting in their pockets and the redistribution of wealth from our country and from Europe. The same thing's happening in Europe. Mass illegal migration from Muslim countries into Europe that is murdering Europe as we speak. The exact same people. All of the millions of Haitians that had been living in Chile and Brazil. If you want to be mad at anyone when you're getting deported, by the way, the last place they want to go back to is Haiti. They're upset because they're going to get sent back to Haiti when they've been living in Chile and Brazil. Here is a recommendation to all of the so-called Haitians that came here illegally. Leave before you get deported. But the problem now is they dumped their IDs, so they can't go back. So now they're in this position where they're going to go back to Haiti. They're going to get deported to Haiti when they could have stayed in Chile and Brazil. But they came, they listened to the NGOs, they listened to the open borders leftists who said, dump your IDs, come on in, we'll take care of you. Knowing that they didn't care, all they cared about was the $1,500 a day per person that was going to be put in their pockets. That's all they cared about. So now those Haitians are going to be sent back to Haiti, the last place they want to go. By the way, Haiti sucks, not because of America. Haiti sucks because the government of Haiti. All you have to look at, that island is not all Haiti. Half of it's the Dominican Republic, which is a much better country. And the only difference is the government. Haiti sucks because the Haitian government and the Haitian people who keep electing the Haitian government. Haiti sucks because of corruption and voodoo. They've replaced God with the devil and politicians with corruption. That's why Haiti sucks. And sadly, organizations like the Clinton Foundation that got billions of dollars to go help fix Haiti and pocketed the money simply see it as a place they can take advantage of. Now, the Syrians, that's another story. The Syrians came over, same thing, illegally into our country. We had no way of vetting them. That's the problem. All of these people, getting back to the oath that all of these politicians swore, all of these people that are saying, oh, it's so sad that these people came here. We had no way of vetting them. We had no diplomatic relations with Syria. And even if we had, there was no government. So all of the Syrians that were coming into our country, and I saw many of them, the same place where I bought these shoes in Sonaita, right across the border in Lukeville, Arizona, where we broke the story of the illegals moving from Yuma, massive numbers. Cartel had moved massive numbers. They left Yuma, they moved out. We found out it was going to Lukeville. Well, while the illegals were coming across, turning themselves in, you had the other illegals that were running out in the desert. They used the fake asylum seekers as cover so that the runners could run into our country. And what that did was allow in millions and millions of totally unvetted illegals from all over the world into our country. Nobody should have gotten temporary protective status. Nobody should have got paroled release. Nobody should be allowed into our country without fully being vetted. That's what's happening now. That's what ICE is doing now. They're going in, picking up the illegals that were invited in by the Open Borders Democrats, and they're sending them home where they belong. You want to blame anybody for what we're seeing? Why Chilean Haitians and Brazilian Haitians are going to be getting sent back to Haiti? Blame the Open Borders Democrats who invited them in the first place. Your job, if you're in the government, is to protect our Constitution and the citizens of the United States. That's it. Anyone who does otherwise needs to be removed from office and prosecuted. All of the organizations that profited off the invasion of America need to be prosecuted. That is why the midterms are some of the most important in our lifetime, because we have to make sure that the policies of President Trump and this administration are made permanent. We've got a bunch of rhinos in the House and the Senate that can't even pass the SAVE Act to make sure that you have ID when you go to vote. You think all these people that dumped their IDs and made up new identities when they came into the United States, you think they're honest? They're all honest people. They're not going to cheat in our elections. All of the organizations, all of the activist organizations, all that is designed to do is get more Democrat voters. It's more Democrat voters and more cheap labor. It's modern day slavery and stealing elections. If Republicans in the House and the Senate don't have the balls to stop that, pass the SAVE Act and stop that. Say you have to have voter ID to vote. We should only have one day of voting in America, in person. But the Democrats don't want it because they know it will be the end of their party. And sadly, too many on the Republican side are too big of to actually do their job. You want to come to America? Do it legally. If you're here illegally, you got two options. You go home voluntarily or you get deported. God bless President Trump. God bless ICE. God bless Border Patrol. And to all the fake news out there, tell the truth.
He made a whole bunch of very valid points. And the thing is he's been going around with ICE.
This video is for all the idiots out there.
He's been going around.
We're screaming about the temporary protective status being taken away from the so-called Haitians.
And the cool thing is you can actually download the video and post it directly onto your whatever platform you're on. So I'm gonna drop the link. I'm gonna start off over on the Rumble side first, because that's where the request came from. But if you want, I'm gonna start. If you want, something to, in order to, oh, I didn't realize that I came in under that name. H1M7Q is my original Rumble name. My Rumble channel is, however, the Hawks Mustard Seeds. Give me 1 second. I need to check on what's going on out here. You guys need to behave yourselves. All right. Dad's a little busy right now. I'll get to you in a little bit. You've already had one run today already. Okay. So you just chill out. Okay, sorry, I had to check on them, but I will drop that link over to Facebook and to let's go ahead and open up Facebook over here. I dropped it over on the Rumble side, I think. Yeah, please do. It's I honestly I cannot wait to get back together again with Jason. I had a lot of fun that Sunday with him and Doc. I'm very serious when I say this. I cannot wait to have another episode over there with him. I'd kind of like to make it a regular thing because I know that sometimes he's combing for information, and I'm finding a lot of things that are comparative to it, and that's one of the reasons why I do what I do, is because I want to give it from as many perspectives, showing showing intent, showing possible resolutions, because a lot of us talk about the problems, but a lot of us also don't talk about solutions to these problems. And we think it's just as simple as just like deporting everybody, but there has to be an understanding that there has to be a lot of accountability done, a whole lot, for those who signed off on all of it. To me, that is just as important as the remigration. Okay. Because without accountability, it's just going to happen over and over in between every single fucking election that we have from here on out. Okay. This is going to be a manipulation point. This is going to be a starting point of starting arguments with neighbors, separating entire communities, and destroying our cities. Because if we really seriously, if we think about this, is their participation in this, all of the programs, including SNAP, Medicare, Social Security, everybody that threw money out, okay, threw our taxpayer dollars out there, every single organization needs to be held accountable. And there can't be any mincemeat about it. It's got to be done. Because it's just doing one or two big people is not going to stop people from being stupid. Okay, clear messages need to be sent. Okay, that we are not going to tolerate this. We, the people, are not going to tolerate this. 80% of all Americans, 80%, okay, want the Save America Act. Our politicians are not working in our best interest. It is time to put their balls in a deep fryer with no flour. Okay? And I'm not kidding. These people need to start paying attention to the American citizens, or we're going to be, we're going to get to the point where we're going to be done with government completely, And just so everybody knows, I don't stay on camera because I'm not pretty to look at. I'm not. However, I think that this would be as good a time as any for me to take a moment and share with you, a safety meeting. Yeah, for those of you that don't know what a safety meeting is, a safety meeting is when we break out the bongs, the bowls, the joints, the pipes, the bubblers, and we take a couple of minutes and we medicate. That's what we do. We medicate in our safety meetings. Yeah. And we cover proper conduct. Yeah, we do. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But this sponsored, or this safety meeting is sponsored by our tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists who have proven to be 99.99% right.
The nice cream cake, baby. I'm just letting myself be. Yeah. Well, today's been heavy, I'm not gonna lie. Too many thoughts rolling through my mind. So I grabbed my pipe, took a look around, and told all my worries, y'all can settle down. I ain't running, I ain't hiding, I just need a little room. Sometimes peace shows up quietly and chases out the gloom. There ain't no emergency, ain't no race. Sometimes you just need a little bit of space. It's an ice cream cake kind of day. Let the heavy drift away. Take a breath, take it slow. Ain't nowhere I gotta go. The world's gonna spin with or without me. I'm just gonna sit right here and let myself be. People ask me, smoke, profit, what's the plan? I say, brother, I'm just one old man. Read a little scripture, watch the clouds roll by. Thank the Lord above for another sunrise. I ain't looking for all the answers, I ain't chasing what's out of reach. Sometimes the quiet says a whole lot more than words can never teach. It's an ice cream cake kind of day. Let the heavy drift away. Take a breath, take it slow. Ain't nowhere I gotta go. The world's gonna spin with or without me. I'm just gonna sit right here and let myself be. Cream cake ain't hard to love. Sweet vanilla drifting on the breeze above. I ain't trying to disappear, I'm just putting my worries in another gear. Life gets loud, that much is true, but I don't have to join in too. One deep breath and a little smile, and life gets lighter for a while. No sir, I ain't escaping, I ain't hiding from a thing. I'm just slowing down enough to hear the evening sing. The birds still chirp, the wind still blows. Funny how peace shows up when you let life go. It's an ice cream cake kind of day. Sweet vanilla drifting my way. Take a breath, take it slow. Ain't nowhere I gotta go. One old Marine with a grateful smile, just enjoying this a little while. The world can hurry if it wants to race. I'm gonna stay right here in my happy place. It's an ice cream cake kind of day. Well, that's better. Coffee's warm, the sky's looking good, and today's a whole lot lighter than it was an hour ago. That'll do just fine. That'll do just fine.
All right, I'm back with you here. Here we go. Yeah, co-op of insanity. Yeah, I see now. And Fred, I'm gonna tell you, I okay. Okay, give me 1 second here. Is that where? Yes. Okay. So if you, okay. All right. So let me go ahead and answer this over here on, I think it's on the YouTube. I think I put it on the YouTube side. Um, okay. Let's see, I got to go to view your channel. I know that on the Rumble side, I believe that the entire link comes up, but over here it's like, um, uh, hey, where are the t-shirts? I guess I didn't add it. I'll have to put them in afterwards. Actually, I might be able to grab them from here. Let me see. Go to content, and I believe that I put them in yesterday's, and I did put up a whole bunch of songs yesterday, because I haven't been throwing them up on that side, because just I got a lot of comments. I didn't come here for the music. I came here for the information. Well, you know what? Some of us, come here. We spend a lot of time together, and we like to share music, and my viewers like my music. Okay, I'm just saying they like my music. They think it's okay for for me. But let me grab both of these links here. Let's see. Is that one? I think I know there's supposed to be two of them that you can click. So let's see if they both come through. Those should work. I hope. Oh, dang nabbit. Okay, I see what happened there. Okay, give me a second. I want to go here, and I want to make sure that I put maybe something like that in it to stop it from being. Okay, so you should have two separate links there. Okay, now the first one, I've only got like two things up there so far. And honestly, I like the quality of the t-shirts that they have there, but I'm not impressed with um, the how you can edit the image after it's there. So like, but here's a prime example for you. Um, so I would like smooth this out so that that the background is not so much and the black rectangular background. I want to make that disappear so that when we put it onto a black shirt, the letters, the images, and everything pop up and pop out at us. But what I liked about them is they go from small all the way to 5X, whereas the other one only goes up to, I believe, 3X. Let me go to where the t-shirts are here. Oh no, they do go up. Okay, so I signed up under their pro program, so like this is on the front. It's got the logo there, but on the back side of it, it's got the full size image on there. So you got it on the front and the back. And it's and then I'm also going to do up a t-shirt that says I'm a mustard seed, with an I'll figure out a way to do it, but it's this person is a registered mustard seed. Plant it to get truth or something like that. I'll come up with something witty, but so that when we do get together, everybody's got t-shirts to wear, things like that. But you also have you're smarter. It's I'll tell you, because honestly, I'm just gonna put this out there. I have been following Jason okay, for years. I don't really play a lot of his content on my channel, but there are specific topics that he'll go into that I will definitely cover. Because when it comes down to knowledge with receipts, he's 100% there. But one of the things is I want to do a solid, straight out interview with him, and pick his mind. What was your original waking point? What made you dive so deep into this? And what kept you going on your trails? Things like that. Those are the kind of questions that I want to ask him. Because to me, it's important to understand where the individual comes from, to understand the perspective in which they are giving to the people, so that, so like a lot of this, when we're doing this, I look at a lot of this under a military perspective, after having been in the Marine Corps for as long as I was, and then working with the veterans community, and then also now being a cannabis grower who takes care of patients and veterans, from the oldest patient that I've taken care of was close to 100. The youngest that I've taken care of is months old. So it's the idea that when people see where the person is coming from on the perspective, then they can understand your viewpoint a little bit better. And I think a lot of people misinterpret what Jason says because of not understanding where he came from. And so they'll shy away from particular types of information and things because they don't understand where he's coming from, and it's, so it would be more of a personal, a personal interview, but then jump right into a whole bunch of topics that we can that we can talk about, where he can kind of catch people up on things that we've been unable to keep up with because of our workload and everything else. So, but to me, Jason is an absolute genius, a genius who has receipts. To me, the receipts are more important than anything else. I think that makes him 100% a standalone where it comes to the podcasting world, because I don't think anybody else can say that they have that kind of record of everything that's gone on in the last 10 years. I really don't. I don't think that there's anybody who has documentation, catalog filed, everything all the way down the line, that is that could even come close. Most of them would constantly be having to look this up online or this up online or this up online, and things like that. But because my awakening happened in the 80s during Beirut. So that's where my perspective began to really alter as to my objective view towards the CIA, towards the international division of the FBI, to the Department of Defense, to the Capitol building, and all the way to the White House. So so when looking at the things that I've seen and the things that I've learned along the way, I've seen different scenarios go on with different countries and knew what was being done in those countries because of the perspective that I have in seeing what they did in Beirut. And that's and now if we look at Lebanon today, look at what Marco Rubio did just yesterday. He got them to sign, Israel and Lebanon to sign a peace deal. And the first thing that happens is the removal of Israeli troops from Lebanon, and for Lebanon to be able to clean house. Okay. It's oftentimes better if you clean your own house, because you know where every crack and crevice is, where every little thing is hidden, and you have a network of people throughout your cities and your country that allow you to be able to be more viper like, would be a way of saying it. You know, there's a difference between a regular snake and a viper. Vipers are vicious, but they're hunters. Okay. They will track their food. They don't always wait for the food to come to them. They will go to the food. Okay. And there's a viciousness about them that goes beyond the average serpent, per se. You know, most serpents will coil for defense and defense only. Aggression, on the other hand, is where vipers come from, and that's why Christ used vipers when he spoke of the Sanhedrin. Okay. You know, when John the Baptist said vipers, there's a difference between snakes and vipers. Regular snakes and vipers, two different categories. And understanding that category allows you to say, okay, we need to remove the snakes and let the vipers do their job. Period. No outside interference whatsoever. Let them do what they can do. And if they need assistance, they'll ask for it. But by Israel being constantly involved, basically all it's doing is building a hate towards Israel. Okay. Now, do I agree with everybody's interpretation? Is Israel bad? Is Israel good? So on and so forth. I'm kind of like I'm a guy who's sitting on a fence, and I look at both sides, and I think that there is going to be. I think that there's going to be. You know, when Q said saving Israel for last, I think the reveal in regards to Israel is going to be one of the largest things. Do I think it goes to the extent of how people feel about Israel that hate Israel? Okay. Do I think it's going to be, you know, more towards the Israeli side, you know, where people come to love Israel, everybody comes to love Israel? You know, in saving Israel for last, I believe that it is going to be it's going to be clear cut. I don't think that there will be manipulation in the message. I think the message will be clear, it'll be precise, and we will know exactly how to react when that time comes. You know, if we follow the history of the Khazarians and so on and so forth, you know, we can understand. Give me 1 second. Sparky, you want to come in, buddy? You want to come in? Come on. Come on, big boy. Come on. Yeah. Yeah. You're all wet. Oh, can Dad dry you off real quick? Yeah, can I dry you off? Because I know you're going to go up and jump on my bed, and I don't want you all wet on my bed. Yeah, because then I'll have a wet bed. Yeah. Are you okay, Samson? You all right, buddy? Yeah, good boy. All right. Thank you for letting me dry you off. I appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah. Good boy. All right. Yeah, wet dog can be a little bit overpowering, especially in a camper. And that water soaks into your blankets, and then you got to get it all cleaned out and everything else. Yeah, it's a pain in the butt. So, okay. All right. So let me get back but yes, those are the links for the t-shirts. You guys can find them there. There's also like coffee cups. Hang on. I got to do the share screen thing again. Click that and it'll so I did the legacy of peace on there. And it's got, come on, turn. It's got that on there. And then on the other side of it, it's got that. Yeah, so there's a bunch there. You know, have fun with it. Have fun checking it out. If you got ideas that you want me to try or something like that, just let me know, and we'll go from there. Let's see. I'm not sure, Lincoln. You know, I'm watching. I'm for the benefit of humanity. I want to see the Khazarians completely taken down and eliminated, 100%. That's just, you know, there's no way around it. The manipulation that has gone on for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, is yeah, they basically need to be wiped off the face of the earth. You know, I don't believe, you know, if we go by the Bible, you know, when Adam and Eve left, you know, left the Garden of Eden, and then, you know, Cain killed Abel and ate him. That's why his blood cried out from the earth, and not his bones. That there were already men on the planet. So, are we tribesmen of the original Israel? I don't know. I don't know. Do I believe that the majority of the population of the world is by the line of Abraham? I think, honestly, I think that we're going to find out that we are probably the true descendants of that lineage, and that there's going to be 3 races that are going to be involved in it, and that we're going to all learn it together, and you know we'll decide we'll decide how we feel about Israel after we find out if we belong to it or not. You know, because of the, you know, you think about the infiltration of the Jews into the Vatican. We know that they got into the religion side of things. You know, basically the Sanhedrin was pretty much destroyed in the fall of Jerusalem. And where did they go? You know, well, they went up to that Russian area, and then they turned around and, you know, after a couple of centuries, started working their way back down, and they stopped into the Vatican, to see the Pope, offered them all kinds of, proof about Jesus and everything else in return for no taxation or the benefit of helping them manage their money and things like that, and began to gain notoriety and positioning within the church and within the nations and so on and so forth. And it's spread. It spread like a locust, absolutely did. So, all right, back to here. And I meant to drop the link for this over here as well on YouTube. Let's see, copy link. And this is the Ben Berquam. And I dropped it over on Facebook, I believe. And then we'll go from there. So let's move on down. So Senator Mike Lee.
2, 1. Hi, I'm Mike Lee. I'm here with my friend Scott Pressler, the one and only. We've been talking tonight about how to move forward with the Save America Act. The Save America Act is going to make sure that our elections are protected.
And I just want to thank Senator Mike Lee for not only sponsoring the SAVE Act, which was the original of proof of citizenship, but now we have the Save America Act, which is proof of citizenship plus what is very popular across the entire United States, photo voter ID. And I wanted to thank all of you at home for calling your senators and representatives peacefully and respectfully, getting them to co-sponsor Senator Mike Lee's legislation.
And we got just the other day, we got nearly every single Republican senator on the SAVE Act. And we reintroduced it, so you're going to get 2 bills on election security for the price of 1 with the Save America Act. We've got almost all those migrated over onto the Save America Act. We should be finishing that project in the next few days. Let's get this done. But I want to thank this guy. Scott Pressler has been an outstanding advocate. We couldn't do it without him, and we couldn't do it without each of you. So all within the sound of my voice, please reach out to your senators respectfully and with passion. Make sure that they know how important this is to you.
And I just want you to know that senators like Mike Lee and Rick Scott and other of their colleagues, they are not letting this issue go. We are going to fight like a dog on a bone, and this is not going to stop until this legislation goes on President Trump's desk to be signed into law. Fighting for you, the American people, every single day. And again, thank you, Senator Mike Lee, for this legislation.
Thank you, and thanks to all of you.
Yep. So John Thune turned his back on Scott Pressler, but Mike Lee stepped in and said, hey, let's give you a platform and somebody to stand next to and deliver your message, right? Yeah. So,
I mean, I think the choices of the future are going to be communism, or if you want to call it socialism in the Democrat Party, or nationalism in the Republican Party. I mean, that is where we're headed. Those are the 2 populist directions. But let's look at what these DSA candidates stand for. So let's look at what their platform is. They actually say they want to abolish the Senate. They want to abolish the carceral state. That means basically police forces and prisons. They want to abolish ICE and grant amnesty for all. They do not support any deportations whatsoever. They want to replace the president and Supreme Court with an executive and judiciary that is chosen by and subordinate to Congress, which basically now I guess this means this House. And with respect to House elections, they want to abolish the Electoral College. They want to replace the 2-party system with a multi-party democracy. And they want to expand the House of Representatives, implement proportionate representation, and ranked choice voting in all elections. So this would be a total makeover of our constitutional system. They want a free Palestine. They want public ownership of major corporations. They want to defund the Department of War. This is a very radical organization. And you would laugh at a lot of these types of proposals, but you can't really laugh at it anymore because these guys are taking over the Democratic Party. And you can see the Democratic establishment is in complete panic right now because they have lost control of the party to Zoran Mamdani and his allies. So Jason, like you said, I mean, let's take this one race here. New York 13, you've got this ally of Hakeem Jeffries, longtime incumbent congressman, Espaillat, I guess is his name. He is the chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, and he was defeated by an unemployed 32-year-old PhD candidate. She's never had a job. She's been in college for 10 years, I guess, writing this PhD thesis. And I think even by DSA standards, she might be kind of a lunatic. So she has declared that she wants to end Western civilization. She wants to eradicate Western civilization.
Wait a second. What? We're soaking in it.
Yeah. She actually said she used the American flag as a napkin to clean her hands.
Oh.
She attended a rally one day after October 7th celebrating the slaughter of Israeli civilians. I mean, she's very pro-Palestine, but even to the point of celebrating Israeli civilian deaths. She calls white women ugly colonizers. She's called for the complete defunding of the police and abolishing all prisons and borders. Doesn't want a single deportation. Hates the police, openly calls them pigs, or has on social media before. Calls U.S. service members war criminals and says the U.S. is a disgrace of a country. She's written favorably about communism and seizing the means of production, and on and on and on. So this is basically the new Democratic Party. It's going to be, even if the Democrats do take the House in November and Hakeem Jeffries becomes Speaker, this is going to prove to be a huge headache for him managing all these new DSA members because they do not actually see the traditional establishment wing of the Democratic Party as an ally. They see it as an obstacle. This is the DSA co-chair Josh Block said, we're using the Democratic Party as a ballot access vehicle.
Oh my God.
Not because we share its goals. We build our own organization, get elected under the Democratic label, caucus with Democrats when it's useful, and push our own agenda from the inside. We see the Democratic establishment as an obstacle, not a home. So the DSA is coming for the Democratic Party. It controls the base now. It's where all the energy is. I think this takeover will continue. I think the DSA will gradually take over more and more of the Democratic Party. And all I can say to these establishment Democrats is play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You supported this open border policy that brought in this wave of mass migration. That is a huge part of the base of this new DSA wing. Mamdani would not have won the mayoral election in New York if it had just been native-born New Yorkers voting. It was the mass migrant vote in New York that swung it to Mamdani. It's not exclusively the DSA base. It's the migrants plus these overeducated white progressives who, I say overeducated because they're more downwardly mobile. They end up going to work in academia or NGOs, that kind of thing. Yep. They're hard left wing. They're kind of the vanguard. And it's this combination of these, recent college graduates who are kind of the organizers and this migrant movement who are really taking over the Democratic Party. But again, this all goes back to Democratic Party policies. They may not have intended for this to happen. They may not have intended for them to lose control, but it was their open border policy. It was also the fact that they have cracked the melting pot and the policy we had for many years in America of assimilating migrants, right? Immigrants.
Yep.
That all got cracked by multiculturalism and wokeism. We don't really do that anymore. So now you've got these candidates like Chevalier openly declaring they're not just anti-American, they're post-American. They don't have any respect for the American system, our constitutional order, our free enterprise system. They want to introduce something in much different. And it's going to look a lot like the countries where these migrants are coming from.
Yep. And frankly, we don't need Haiti in America. We don't need Iraq in America. We don't need Afghanistan in America. We don't need any of that crap. We don't. So this is another side of the Promethean Action, team. This is Mike Steger. Now, somebody made a comment yesterday, that they were kind of downing Q followers. Okay, well, this is the thing. As far as where information is concerned, what they think of me and what they think of Q doesn't fucking matter. Because what they do not understand, okay, is we would not have found Promethean Action if not for Q. Let me say that again. We would not have looked for or found Promethean Action if not for Q. So Promethean Action can say what they want about Q. We know what we've been doing for the last 10 years together. We've witnessed it side by side. Okay. But does that discount the information that they bring to the table? No, it doesn't. If anything, it solidifies what we already knew. They just break it down more incrementally where we can actually absorb the information bit by bit as the moves are made on one particular focus. Okay, What they do not cover is they do not cover trafficking, child trafficking, human trafficking, okay, and recovery of victims, okay. What they do not cover is the everyday situations going on with Americans day to day, okay. And this is the thing is, we've been following their information for a while. Okay. Now this guy did not have anything to do with that conversation. Okay. Just to put that out there. This guy did not have anything to do with that conversation. Okay. But Susan Kokinda and Barbara Boyd, I'm just going to let you know right now, if you happen to watch my podcast, okay, that I would not have found you if it hadn't been for Q opening my mind to another point of view. I would have never looked for you and never would have found you. To me, it is that simple. Q taught us to research. Okay. Asked us questions that required us to take the time to dig. And there were times that we jumped into rabbit holes that we wished for the love of God that we had a life preserver to suck us back out of there because we didn't like what we found. But not everything that goes on in America can be blamed on the British Empire. We would have known to be looking into Epstein 10 years ago, if not for Q. Just putting that out there. Just putting that out there. I was on podcasts doing interviews with people in regards to being trafficked when I was a kid through the Department of Children and Youth Services, okay, and through the organizations and institutions in which they housed me in, okay, and yeah, so I've been in this a while. Been in this for quite a while. I see things from a different perspective, and a lot of people don't always understand it right off the bat. But when you get to know me and you get to know my story, then you begin to understand the perspective in which I come through and just throw my opinion out. Now, you don't have to agree with my opinion. You don't. But if you do, you end up sticking around, and we agree on a whole bunch of other stuff too. Yeah. I'm just saying, those are one of those things. One of those things. Let's have a quick safety meeting here. And for those of you that were not here at the beginning of today's podcast, before I hit play on this video, I just want to remind those of you at the end of yesterday's podcast, I made a comment in regards to believing that we belong to the co-op of insanity. Okay. We watch all this crap going on, right? And people ask me, why do you focus your attention on that? You have so many other things that you could do. Well, the thing is that I love doing this. I'm just saying, I absolutely love doing this. I love the digging. I love the reaction and the conversations that are sparked by the topics that we talk about, But I told you yesterday that, that after making the statement that we belong to the co-op of insanity, I said, oh man, I said to myself, there's my next title right there. There's the title of my next song. Yep. And guess what? I'm gonna hit you with it. Here we go.
Well, grab a cup of coffee, pull up a chair, plant another mustard seed. Let's see what grows. Coffee's on, the day's begun. Somebody says, what if? Just for fun. One talks history, one talks grace. One says, slow down, let's find our place. Round and round the stories roll. Every heart, every soul. Laugh a little, shake your head. Half the things we've heard ain't dead. Yeah. Questions fly, but no one's afraid. Truth gets brighter in the shade. One more seed, one more friend. That's where all the good things begin. Hey, hey! Welcome to the co-op of insanity. Plant another mustard seed. Watch what faith can be. Laugh together, learn together. Love's our melody. Everybody's family. The co-op of insanity. Yeah. Hey. Some found hope where dreams had died. Some found peace they couldn't hide. Some found Jesus strong and true. Some found friends to see them through. World gets noisy, world gets strange. Seems like everything can change. But around this table, hand in hand, we keep building what will stand. Shoulder strong when life gets rough. Love reminds us we're enough. One more prayer, one more smile makes the journey worth the while. Hey, welcome to the co-op of insanity. Plant another mustard seed. Watch what faith can be. Laugh together, learn together. Love's our melody. Everybody's family. In the co-op of insanity. We don't have to know it all. Sometimes faith's a simple call. Lift somebody when they're low. Share the light you've come to know. Every answer starts with one. Another day beneath the sun. Truth may stretch us, make us see. That's how hearts are set free. Yeah, you never know what tomorrow brings. Plant another seed. Love can grow the smallest things. Plant another seed. Hey, plant another seed. Hey, plant another seed. Oh, love can grow the smallest things. Hey, welcome to the co-op of insanity. Every heart's a mustard seed, growing like a family. Love together, grow together. That's our harmony. Thank the Lord for bringing us this crazy little family. Welcome to the co-op, where the laughter never ends. Welcome to the co-op, where strangers all become friends. One more story, one more smile, one more melody. Welcome to the co-op of insanity. Keep planting those mustard seeds. We'll save you a chair. We'll save you a chair.
You know, and I had fun writing that too. I really, really did. I had a lot of fun writing that because at first I was like, I was going to pick on a couple of people. I was going to talk about Garrettine, you know, So for those of you that are on the Rumble side, we have a young man who comes into our chat, and he's really excited when it comes to like wrestling events or music events and stuff like that, and he'll come in and he'll start talking about that. We're in the middle of a really important topic, right? And he'll just come in and he'll start talking about the most obscure things, and we're like, stop garroting us. Okay. And so we use that term when people get try to get us sidetracked from the topic that we're talking about and stuff. So it's a little bit of fun. I was going to do that and a couple other people. I was even going to fit Miss Minder Sue in there, but it was yes, absolutely. We love Garrett. Absolutely love him. All right. So Mike Steger. Now, we were introduced to Mike Steger just a short time ago. I think it was about a month ago when the ladies from Promethean Action started posting some of his videos. And I've seen a few of the discussions and stuff that he's been in. This guy's got quite a brain. And I like his perspective, especially when he's talking about Mondami. With what's going on in New York. So for those of you that are in or around New York, this is a really good example of a breakdown in regards to the Communist Party there in New York. And I think it's incredible what he did with this. So let me make a big screen here, get him going, and I'll be back with you when this is all done. This is about 17 minutes long. Let me get the right banner up there here before I hit play. He's, again, it's the idea, the more perspectives that we look at, give us the a more objective viewpoint, when it comes for us to give talking points to people in regard to getting them to understand, because there's a certain point where, some people get stuck on stupid. And then there's other people who just want to stay on stupid, but they want to continue to push the narrative in which they're talking about. And sometimes what you have to do is to be able to shut them up. And you do that through facts, right? We do that through facts. That's how we benefit from all that. So here we go. Mike Steger.
The summer of 2026 is going to be a hot summer of panic as the radical left loses control of American culture and politics. Their powers have peaked and they're now ebbing. The shadow regime is being gutted. The radical left insurgency is now publicly dominated by radical Islam, communists, and other branches of their radical cult. If they lose in November, they may fracture and die. Even their climate cult is dying. Europeans here for the World Cup are discovering that even American football arenas and big box stores have air conditioning while people die from heat stroke in Paris. It looks like an American Renaissance is beginning to break out in the most unlikely of places. And this is the reality. If the Dems lose the 2026 midterms, it's an existential catastrophe for them. All the pressure is on them to perform. Not in Brooklyn, that's their Leningrad. They have to win the swing districts, the districts that aren't dominated by DC spin. Because what the average American sees is that Iran is now taking our demands seriously, that Israel isn't elated, that it wasn't all about Israel. They see that Trump won, and he didn't let the neocons drag him into another forever war. The rest of it is just DC insider spin cycle. The American people see that Trump has pivoted to addressing the Ukraine war next and is committed to peace, while at the same time is funding a nuclear renaissance in the United States. But this video is going to dive deeper. We're going to look at how these radical operations that have taken over New York City were perfected in Eastern Europe, applied in the Americas, and then brought home. People like Gene Sharp and the Maidan, operations like mass censorship in Brazil, and how this entire radical Islam communist apparatus is a monster gone loose, which means more heartburn for Chuck Schumer. The kicker is that President Trump is now holding the Senate hostage until he gets the Save America Act passed. because election fraud is the last standing pillar of their rainbow revolution. This is what the midterms are all about, and Chuck Schumer and the Democrats are well aware of what's at stake. I'm Mike Stager, and this has been my fight for over 20 years. If you sign up to our newsletter, subscribe, and hit the bell, then you're helping not only to spread the word, but build the army to win the war and rebuild our nation. Gene Sharp wrote the manual for the color revolutions in 1993, entitled From Dictatorship to Democracy. Sharp wrote this in his field manual: just as military officers must understand force structures, tactics, and the like in order to plot military strategy, political defiance planners must understand the nature and strategic principles of nonviolent struggle. The struggle is fought by psychological, social, economic, and political weapons applied by the population and the institutions of the society. Sharp took grants from the NED, the National Endowment for Democracy, to fund his operation. The first revolution started in post-Soviet states: Serbia in 2000, Georgia in 2003, then Ukraine in 2004, and Kyrgyzstan in 2005. In 2004 in Ukraine, George Soros's network helped finance the Orange Revolution. Soros's own Ukrainian outfit spent $1.65 million between the autumn of 2003 and December 2004. Then that same outfit ran the exit polls that challenged the outcome of the election, leading to the coup. The Guardian reported total U.S. spending on the operation at roughly $65 million. The money flowed through the familiar names: USAID and the National Endowment for Democracy, the same outfit that gave grants to Gene Sharp. This same operation was done under Obama in North Africa and the Middle East starting in 2011. The so-called Arab Spring installed the Muslim Brotherhood in Cairo and put terrorists in control of Libya. The Associated Press reported that Sharp's work was circulating among Egyptian activists. And during the second generation of rainbow revolutions, social media platforms like Twitter were also incorporated. 2 years later, in February of 2013, General Valery Gerasimov, chief of the General Staff of the Russian Armed Forces, Russia's top military officer, wrote an article, quote, "The value of science is in the foresight," where he wrote this, quote, "The experience of military conflicts, including those connected with the so-called color revolutions, confirm that a perfectly thriving state in a matter of months and even days can be transformed into an arena of fierce armed conflict, become a victim of foreign intervention, and sink into a web of chaos, humanitarian catastrophe, and civil war." He said, quote, "The very rules of war have changed." The Russians had essentially declared that this USAID and National Endowment of Democracy funded operation was a new form of warfare. And just 10 months later, these same institutions launched the Maidan coup in Ukraine, creating the Donbass Civil War and eventually the war between Russia and Ukraine, killing hundreds of thousands of people. These operations indicate two clear factors. A public-private partnership has perfected a sophisticated method for waging war on nations, regime change without firing a shot. A leading writer on X, Data Republican, has documented this via her study of the Rose Revolution in Georgia in 2003. She identifies 5 pillars to run a rainbow revolution. You can see her write-up in the description. These 5 pillars are the media, legal, elections, governance, and activists. The point that Gene Sharp understood is that the activists are key. They represent the population. Without them, it's just a bunch of elites in institutions. But the point here is that the activists have to take orders from the 4 other pillars. It has to be a coordinated military operation. If the radicals on the streets think they're calling the shots, then the monster is out of its cage. The lunatics are running the asylum. We'll come back to that point later. The second factor of these operations is that there is a clear desire to use this rainbow warfare to create an existential conflict with Russia. And when you look at it, this makes no sense on the surface. Picking a fight with a nuclear superpower would create an existential world war, which forces the question, why? What could possibly be worth such an existential war? Put it in broad terms. Their goal these globalists is global control. Money and war are just tools. And these globalist institutions have concluded something very critical, that a vibrant Western Christian civilization is intolerant of these globalist games. Christianity and the West emerged in defiance of Rome's pagan and violent culture. To install a globalist system, Christianity and the West have to be destroyed. And what better way than through European civil wars like World War I and World War II? These wars have nearly destroyed Western Christian civilization. But if we're still standing, if we're threatening a revival, then why not a third? And President Trump and his election in 2016 disrupted this second factor. We've seen this since 2017 with the Russiagate coup. At that point, the full-scale rainbow operation was turned against the United States from the highest levels of globalist control. People like Mark Carney and Obama handled the elite coordination, while puppets like Zelensky, who have now met with the King of England 6 times since the war started, simply follow orders. That's why this war is the hardest to end, as President Trump often says. That's why what's happening in the Americas, in our Western Hemisphere, is a critical part of the strategic map. We're now reviving patriotic Christian nations throughout the entire hemisphere. On his first day back in office, President Trump froze U.S. foreign aid. Within weeks, USAID's website was down, its headquarters were closed, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced that he was canceling 83% of USAID's programs, thousands of contracts worth tens of billions of dollars. By July, USAID had ceased to exist as an independent agency. It was folded into the State Department. The money that vanished wasn't the food and medicine they advertised. It was the democracy and governance money, the civil society grants, the election programs, the NGO web, and all of the UN cover. Add to this the taking out of the Maduro-Chavez narco regime in Venezuela, the rise of Bukele's El Salvador, and the increasing pressure on the narco-terrorists throughout the hemisphere, and leftist regimes in all of the Americas have lost significant funding and coordination. Since Trump came in, the political outcomes in the Americas have now been a massive sea change. Ecuador stayed conservative last April, but in October, Bolivia ended nearly 20 years of socialist rule. In November, Honduras elected a conservative president. In Chile, in December, the new president won a landslide against a communist candidate with the largest vote total in the country's history. This past February in Costa Rica, the right won an outright in the first round. In Colombia, this June, the Trump-endorsed candidate beat the leftist, putting an end to any collaboration with the drug cartels. And in Peru, conservative Keiko Fujimori is headed for the presidency, pending final certification. These are 7 elections, all in one direction. It's like mail-in ballots, but all in the other direction. Washington's rainbow operation spent decades sending dollars through NGOs to keep these leftist pro-narco governments afloat. And the moment Trump turned off the tap, they started to collapse. Brazil and Mexico remain the biggest holdouts. Mexico remains dependent on the United States economy, and we are confronting Mexico directly on trade, China, and the narcos. Brazil is the harder case. Brazil has been a leading target of the globalists and China for 35 years. So let's consider Brazil, who will hold elections this October. First, consider that Alexandre Moraes, a justice on Brazil's Supreme Court, is a one-man censorship regime that sits above the president, above Congress, above the voters. He issued secret orders forcing social media companies to delete accounts and erase posts. He jailed people for what they wrote online. In 2024, he ordered Elon Musk's X shut down across all of Brazil. That's why Musk taking over X was such a big deal. Social media was developed as a tool of the rainbow revolutions. Now it has been turned against them. Then in September 2025, Brazil's Supreme Court convicted former conservative president Jair Bolsonaro for challenging the election and sentenced him to 27 years in prison. By November, he was behind bars. The front runner for the presidency was just taken off the board. But Moraes didn't invent this system. This is the same machine the U.S. ran during COVID through institutions like Stanford's Election Integrity Partnership and the State Department's Global Engagement Center. The GEC, created by Obama in 2016, as Mike Benz describes, was turned from counterterrorism to counter-populism with Trump's win in 2016. In essence, as soon as it was set up, it was turned on the American people. When Rubio shut it down in April of 2025, he said it had spent millions of dollars to actively silence and censor the voices of Americans they were supposed to be serving. And that was the model. So when Trump gutted USAID and shut down the GEC in 2025, the Brazilian regime didn't just lose money and support. Rubio sanctioned Moraes and stripped his US visa. Trump put tariffs on Brazil over the persecution of Bolsonaro. Brazilian President Lula da Silva quickly saw the writing on the wall and leaned into the China option. In May 2025, at a state banquet in Beijing, Rio Times reports that Lula personally asked Xi Jinping to send Chinese experts to help Brazil regulate its social media. Instead of becoming a sovereign nation opposed to censorship control, Brazil went with the Chinese social credit agenda, hoping to be a bulwark on behalf of globalist control in the Western Hemisphere. Since Bolsonaro's conviction, relations have stalemated between the US and Brazil. But Bolsonaro's son is now running for president, and polls indicate that it's a dead heat. The elections will take place in October, prior to the US midterms. And as nation after nation flips to patriotic governments, the rainbow regime is increasingly surrounded. As the USAID complex is folded up, the whole hemisphere is transforming. But American cities are clearly the greatest vulnerability to the American Republic. From major cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago, to mid-sized cities like Seattle and San Francisco, these cities are the putrid open wounds of our nation's culture and political life. Look at the recent elections in New York, where the Red-Green Alliance, radical left communists with radical Muslims, are hoping to turn New York into a medieval cesspool. Consider Darialitza Chevalier, the radical communist and Muslim convert Mamdani just helped send to Congress. Before she deleted her X account, she called the abolition of police, prisons, and borders the only moral way forward. She called her own country, the United States, an effing disgrace, and posted that she wiped her hand on the American flag. The day after the October 7th massacre, she stood at a rally with signs saying, "Resistance is justified when people are occupied," justifying the October 7th terrorist attack, a rally so extreme that even Mamdani didn't attend. This is USAID and Gene Sharp in America, the Rainbow Revolution, but it isn't working. It's not under control. The street activists now think they're the ones running the show. That's never how a color revolution works. The string pullers like Obama and Carney want to tack to the center to maintain optics, like they did in Maidan. You have to have the pretense of normalcy for the revolution to work. If the Nazis, communists, and radical terrorists think they run the show, then there's little the lawyers and media can do to control the narrative. Senator John Fetterman said it on Hannity. These are the pro-Hamas wing. A lot of these candidates are just declaring a war on regular Democrats. This has become the dancing days of the dirtbag left. This is why the Save America Act has become the cornerstone of Trump's summer campaign. He's using Bill Pulte as acting director of national intelligence to raise the heat. Because if the Senate cares about any one thing, it's the intelligence community. Trump even paused his nomination of Jay Clayton as DNI until things move forward. He's also pledging to hold up the FISA 702 surveillance power until he gets election reform. Yet the GOP Senate remains petrified. They're taking another recess. This whole process isn't pretty, and it's uncertain, and this breeds cynicism. But if Trump has taught us one thing, it's this. When you can't get a win, then create sufficient disruption until you can. Get people screaming and moving if that's what it takes. Break their fixed positions. Operate based on what's right and true, and then keep pushing. Reason can prevail, but only if you fight. The color revolution in America has been waged for over 10 years. It includes Russiagate, Ukrainegate, the caravans, COVID, J6, and the riots in Minnesota. And it's all failing. They haven't eliminated Trump. He didn't run away like they thought he would. Now election rigging is all they have left. South America is already shifting. Europe is on the brink. The patriots are rising across the continent. The pressure is entirely on the Dems, and now their lunatics are running their asylum. And that's where we focus. Hit their weakness and mobilize. Be prepared for riots and chaos this summer. The Dems have a lot to lose and have no new tactics, but we can save America. And that's the overview. Click like and subscribe, sign up for the newsletter, and thanks for watching.
All right, and that was Mike Steger. He is a really good follow.
The summer of 2026 is going to be a hot summer.
Would be interested. This is his thing here. Mike Steger, Love of God and Country, Building Civilization, author of Promethean Overviews, Never Count Trump Out. Yep. So absolutely worth taking a listen to some of the things that he's had to go through here. So let's go here now. This is a continuation from Ben Bergquam. This is let's see, it's was taken inside a secret cartel tunnel hidden beneath a fake appliance store. Once you see how this operation worked, you'll never look at a strip mall the same way again. Okay, so you guys ready? Here we go.
The court records over that 6-month period, we saw almost no legitimate sales happening here. As you can see coming in here, this was a legitimate business. We have obviously, for the time since we served the warrant, been doing searches, searched every item to make sure we're not missing anything. But when we came in here, boxes were set up in positions where they could actually be sold. During the course of our investigation, again, we didn't see any legitimate sales happening in this location. The cash drawer has like $15 in it. There's no legitimate money, and that was how it was when we got here. There was no actual evidence that this was operating as a real business. It was a front so that they could open the tunnel and move drugs through it. The freezers, like this one, were actually loaded full of cocaine. So we observed the freezers come out of here, and then we observed them loading cocaine into them at another location. We partner with the Border Patrol, with the tunnel team that are the best in the business. So once we made the tactical entry, we were able to secure it, and we had the warrant to actually search for the tunnel. These guys came in, began moving items around, and quickly found what you will see to be the tunnel, and they will describe more to you about the actual structure itself.
Yeah, good seeing you again.
Yes, sir. So this is it, huh?
Yep, this is it. They had a patch that was laid here, and every time they would come up, they would break it or break the tiles, and then they would, when they were done, they would retile it. So if you look at the tiles, the length from the tiles, it matches the same length as this opening for one whole piece of tile.
So you can see right here, I know we're in a really tight space. We do have a drop here. You have to use this board to step on right here. And then from here, there's another little ladder, and you can walk down the ladder, and that's where the first set of stairs begins. So when you come down here, just watch your step coming down, and you'll see it right here. It's all piled with mortar and stuff like that. And they'll use that mortar to retile, and they have bags of concrete as well.
Do you know how long it took them to dig this?
Our estimates, it's about 2 years.
Wow.
Typically with this type of distance that we've seen in the past, it takes about a year. But because you can tell the way the footprint is, it's why it took longer, because you're increasing the height. And so that's twice the amount of dirt. So it takes twice the amount of time, especially when you're taking your time. And right here, right off to your left, where I'm shining my light up here, this is where they're going to come out in the bathroom. For whatever reason, they made the decision not to go up in the bathroom and to come out in this little side room. If you look right here, it's just simple speaker wire. They run, and then they splice into it, and that's where they run their light bulbs. You can see one of the light bulbs over there is kind of losing its juice, and they actually had extra bulbs so they could change them out. This is more or less how tall and how wide the tunnel was all the way through. You'll see at the first section down where it dips, it gets a little bit taller, and then towards the end too, it gets a little bit taller. But for the most part, it's almost like you can crouch down and you can walk the tunnel. It is a little bit more narrow than the ones that we've seen. They're typically about 3 feet wide. This is about 2.5 feet wide, but again, it's 5 feet tall. And again, what I was talking about earlier, this is where they leave these things of tiles. We left them exactly in place where they were. So this is the tile. So as they break ground and push dope, When they're done pushing whatever it is amount that they push that day, they put these tiles back on so it looks like as if nothing's there, and then they'll put their laundry machines or washing machines and all their miscellaneous items right back up. And again, as we're progressing forward, we're doing this. It's not like we're not pushing very fast. We're kind of methodically pushing pretty slow, because again, when we come up to these blind corners, these 90s here, we don't know what's around that corner, right? So we're peeking, we're looking, we're making sure it's clear. Obviously, what helped us is the lighting that was on. That didn't happen until about a couple hours into us making entry. So we were strictly just light. So what you see on my head, and then a handheld with plenty of obviously batteries, we're operating in the dark. And this again right here is another example of where they were going in the wrong direction. And then they tried to recorrect, and they were in the wrong direction, and they filled it with sandbags, because every time when they're making these movements and they're going in the wrong direction, they have to kind of reinforce those areas, because that now becomes a weak point of the tunnel. The more bends and stuff that they have, this is where a lot of those structural issues start to appear. It's really simple. So when they talk about sophistication, they're literally using a compass. And in our case, we use what's called a plurf. And that's able to shoot inclination, declination. It's able to shoot distance, and we're able to give us a heading in a direction. So that's the most important thing. So
now the big question is, does it also tell you where there's already tunnels? You know, is there something that tells you that there's a tunnel on the other side of this, and we're gonna connect with it here in a minute, kind of thing. You'd be surprised. The layout network that is so prevalent. Then we got Tim Burchett.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett. Got the new haircut. 2 bills tonight, and they were both incredibly.
That was in. That one there was in.
Over that 6-month period, we saw almost no legitimate sales happening here. As you can see, coming in here, this was a legitimate business. We have obviously, for the time since we served the warrant, been doing searches, searched every item to make sure we're not missing anything. But when we came in here, boxes were set up in positions where they could actually be sold. During the course of our investigation, again, we didn't see any legitimate sales happening in this location. The cash drawer has like $15 in it. There's no legitimate money, and that was how it was when we got here. There was no actual evidence that this was operating as a real business. It was a front so that they could open the tunnel and move drugs through it. The freezers, like this one, were actually loaded full of cocaine. So we observed the freezer.
I thought that he said
made the tactical entry. We were able to structure itself.
Yeah, good seeing you again.
Yes, sir. So this is it, huh?
Yep, this is it. They had a
the court records over that period. We saw almost.
See, I could have swore I thought that he mentioned where this was. Let's see. Do they say? Let's see. Seems this would tie in to all the real estate money laundering they found in Arizona. So I'm thinking that maybe somebody knows that this was in an Arizona area. I haven't seen anybody else say anything about any other state in these comments here. So I'm probably going to have to say that I believe that was in Arizona, because they didn't mention it in the report. I thought they did at the beginning. I guess I was, I'm mistaken sometimes. So, all right, Tim Burchett.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett. Got the new haircut. 2 bills tonight, and they were both incredibly, in my opinion, incredibly potent Trojan horses. I voted no on both of them. The first one, the Emergency Conservation Program Improvement Act of 2025, says it's a program provides a payment to farmers and forest landowners who have been impacted by natural disasters. Well, it sounds reasonable. But then it allows them to receive a portion of this funding in advance to recover, rather than being reimbursed later. 40 trillion in debt, and you provide little or no proof. We found a lot of fraud in these programs in the past. What's going to change for now? The other bill, this Housing Act, this is actually in the Senate, was Elizabeth Warren's bill, and they couldn't go through the regular channels, so they suspend the House rules to get it in the House today. Something in it is just crazy. It doesn't limit illegals from receiving housing welfare or limit foreign ownership. It actually includes Rashida Tlaib's $200 million affordable housing pilot program. It includes COVID-era eviction moratoriums. What in the world, folks? You talk about the deep state. That's what it is. Everybody, the only color they see is green, and it's coming out of your dadgum pocket. It's ridiculous. And here we are, and both of them passed, of course. I'm somebody like out there in the wilderness. There's about 15 or so, the usual suspects voted against these things, and we never get an answer. Never get an answer when we talk to leadership. So it's got to change. It has got to change. We will lose our republic, and the way we'll do it is to spend ourselves attacking real entrepreneurs. And anyway, it's pathetic. Thank y'all for sending me here.
Let me talk a little bit about what Tim is worried about here. He's talking about the 21st Century Road to Housing Act. This bill expands housing-related programs and grants, but it doesn't add any stronger verification or citizenship requirements. So this means that states like California that are giving this kind of aid to illegals, it's going to benefit them. They're going to be able to draw from this money. As far as foreign ownership on homes, the bill does not restrict non-U.S. citizens or foreign entities from buying homes. It only restricts institutional investors, so illegals will still be able to get homes. And then they want to re-implement these COVID-era eviction protections. These were used to allow illegals to get housing and not be able to remove the illegals from housing.
Forgot I muted myself for a second there because I was talking to the dang puppy. It's called a pupstraction. Okay, pupstraction. Okay. Puppy distraction. All one word. And I'll show you what I mean in it. Oh yeah, go ahead. Climb on through the screen door. Yeah. Hi. Hi. Come here. Come here. Come here, you little stinker. What you do? What you do? What you do? What you do? Gimme. Gimme. She's camera shy. I turned on my phone on her to take a picture of her, and she about hit herself in a corner and everything. Don't take my picture. Don't take my picture. All right, we're coming up on the 3-hour mark here. I've got a couple of things that I've got to get done.
I think we should have pushed for an election in the Palestinian territories. I think that was a big mistake. And if we were going to push for an election, then we should have made sure that we did something to determine who was going to win. I think we should.
Oops. Hillary admits to U.S. rigs elections. Yeah, well, it's not just the U.S. There's other countries in there, too. There's a whole bunch of them. And, you know, it's just what we have to kind of deal with. All right. If you are a Trump supporter and you think Q is dumb or disinformation, I've got bad news for you. Trump and his administration frequently share Q phrases, Q memes, and speaking code to the Anons, whether you are willing to believe it or not. It's also reached the point where it's become a mathematical impossibility for this to be an accident or a coincidence. If it would have happened once, twice, or a few times, we might be able to write it off as coincidence. But it's a repeated and consistent behavior. They know exactly what they are doing. So regardless of how anyone feels about the situation, the reality is Trump and his administration lean into Q and are trying to draw attention to it. As for why they are doing it, you can decide for yourself. But the reality is it's happening. And I'm tired of everybody pretending it's not. And and clandestine's 100% correct in that. It's we are seeing more and more and more and more and more. And it's not. It's not. It's there's so much more to this than meets the eye. Donald Trump put this out. When did he put this out? No, it doesn't say, does it? No. See, I hate it when they do that. Well, if I go by rapid response, Mark Wayne Mullet shared it. So that, but that doesn't really help. I'm very pleased to announce that I've nominated Lance Schroyer to be our next ICE director. Lance has over 29 years of law enforcement experience in Oklahoma, a state where I won all 77 counties in 2016, 2020, and 2024. Lance is a former Oklahoma State Trooper and a United States Marine. He is a patriot with real operational experience and proven leader with decades of experience locking up the worst of the worst, including spearheading 279 thousand law enforcement partnerships with ICE. Let's see, Lance has firsthand experience getting illegals, aliens off our streets, and just like me and our Secretary of Homeland Security, Mark Wayne Mullen, he loves the men and women of ICE. Importantly, Lance Schroyer has what it takes to detain and deport illegal alien criminals, including murderers, rapists, and drug traffickers at a rate never seen before. Remember, our administration has the highest daily arrest rate by ICE and CBP than any other president by far. It's not even close. The Senate must confirm Lance immediately. Do not delay. Together we will make America safe again. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, see, what's going to happen is this. The Senate confirmation is going to be another way for them to have an excuse to not focus on the Save America Act. Just saying that this is, So President Trump posted this. President Trump posted this photo with no context except Anons know. Drop a Pepe if you know. So you got Barack Hussein Obama at the age of 18 and Donald Trump at the age of 20. Now, I want to look at 4205 and make sure that that is the entirety of that post. So, hashtag 4205. And it is. It is. Let me get rid of that. And I should be able to make that bigger. There, look at that. Look at how big that gets. Yeah. Big difference between the two, isn't it? And doesn't it look like you got a lazy eye over here? A little bit. Yeah. The war is real. He fights for you. Yeah. I said it. Now, let's click today. 3352. Forgotten country, patriots fight. Yep. 3351. Future comms and kill brackets. Pre-stage election. Pre-stage security. Pre-stage directors. Pre-stage capabilities. on ready in kill brackets. Be ready. I'm not ready. Shit, my fridge is about empty and my cabinets are definitely there and I got to get dog food. So I'm not ready. I'm not ready. You don't do nothing until I'm ready. Okay. I'm just saying. I had other things that I had to take care of this week. All right. So you just got to give it a couple of days. Okay. A couple of days. Before the 4th, I'll be ready. But I'm not ready. All right. 1616 starts with a link from your newswire, which is no longer available. So let's do this. Let's go to the way back. Way back. And let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's throw it in there and see what happens. Is there something here? Okay, so that post was from June 27th of 2018. So 2018. Ooh, what's this? Could it be? What? YourNewsWire.com. News, truth, unfiltered. FBI Clinton campaign official arrested on child rape charges. One of Hillary Clinton's campaign officials was arrested Tuesday on child sex abuse charges, the FBI has confirmed. Joel Davis was caught in possession of explicit child sex images and had attempted to get access to children as young as 2 years old for sex. Davis was chairman of the International Campaign to Stop Rape and Gender Violence in Conflict charity. He also worked on Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign. The Daily Mail reports Davis allegedly told undercover FBI agents that he was sexually interested in children of all ages. He is accused of sending the agents sexually explicit photographs of infants and toddlers, including some of the children engaged in sex acts with adults. The 22-year-old allegedly arranged to meet the 9-year-old daughter of one of the undercover agents with who the purported 2-year-old daughter of the officer's girlfriend. He allegedly went into detail in the text messages about what sexual activities he intended to engage in with the children. Prosecutors say Davis repeatedly asked the undercover agent to take naked and explicit pictures and videos of the children to send to him. Following his arrest, Davis allegedly admitted to officers that he had abused a 13-year-old boy in the past and that he kept child porn images on his phone. After having started an organization that pushed for the end of sexual violence, Davis displayed the highest degree of hypocrisy by his alleged attempts to sexually exploit multiple minors. FBI Assistant Director in charge William S. F. Sweeney Jr. said, As if this wasn't repulsive enough, Davis allegedly possessed and distributed utterly explicit images of innocent infants and toddlers being sexually abused by adults. Davis faced Manhattan federal court on Tuesday, charged with enticement of a minor to engage in sexual activity, attempted sexual exploitation of a minor, possession of child pornography, and receipt and distribution of child pornography. According to his LinkedIn profile, Davis has attended Oxford University, Columbia University, and the Juilliard School. U.S. Attorney Jeffrey S. Berman, described Davis' alleged actions as unfathomable and sickening. Davis started an organization devoted to stopping sexual violence while allegedly engaged in duplicitous behavior, duplicitous behavior of sharing explicit images of infants engaged in sexual activities. Davis also allegedly solicited an undercover officer whom he thought would to be a willing participant to send sexually explicit videos of his 9-year-old daughter, and even to set up a sexual encounter between himself and a 2-year-old. The conduct alleged against Joel Davis is as unfathomable as it is sickening. As this case demonstrates, law enforcement will keep its watchful eye on the darkest corners of the internet to bring predators to justice. Coincidence? These people are sick. Q. All right. Winning. Patriots, one and all. We see you. Many VIPs at the rally. And then we've got, sound familiar, sarahcarter.com. It is no longer available. But guess what? Guess what we're going to do? Yeah, we'll go back to the way back. Here we go again. And let's see what's there. Paste. Enter. And off we go. So, January 8th. Sarah will be back. It says 64 captures, huh? Okay, let's see. Okay. So, but these were Strzok in regards to Strzok. Good lot on Fox FBI attorney instructing Peter Strzok not to answer. Answers regarding text not believable. Sound familiar? Rest assured, justice will be served. Q. 1612. Anonymous says, Q, not now. We are listening to some ND guy talking before Trump speaks. And ND is, I hate to have to do this. Research. There we go. Take me down to the ends. Take me down to the ends. I don't want to get it wrong. And yeah, I don't know what the ND stands for. Maybe North Dakota guy talking before we are listening to some, possibly a North Dakota guy talking before Trump speaks. Just landed, you have time. All right, then we got 1611. Another one of Sarah Carter's. I'm not even going to bother. Sound familiar? Then 1610. Are you awake? Mainstream media propaganda tool of the Democratic Party. POTUS economy not good enough. Impeach. POTUS job creating record not good enough. Impeach. POTUS GDP not good enough. Impeach. POTUS fair trade. Protect America, not good enough. Impeach. POTUS manufacturing, not good enough. Impeach. POTUS record low unemployment, not good enough. Impeach. POTUS tax reform, more take-home money, not good enough. Impeach. POTUS save the world from North Korea, not good enough. Impeach. POTUS stock market gains, not good enough. Impeach. This just goes on and on and on. It's all while under constant attack. Do you not believe the truth is spreading? Do you not believe they are losing their slave grip hold? Do you not believe we are winning? And it takes us to a Breitbart article. It's 72% of Americans believe establishment media deliberately report fake news. Yep, and that's right. Silent majority, no more. Fight, fight, fight. Where we go one, we go all. What a wonderful day. Q. GDP error. Link to article placed incorrectly. Busy day. Then we got 1609, where it goes through that list again, right? And then before that, we have 1608. I will not be filing for re-election to Congress nor seeking any other political or elected office. Instead, I will be returning to the justice system, Gowdy said in a statement. Should we add him to the list? Q. No, he went to the media. 1607. Letter from Justice Kennedy to POTUS. And this is June 27, 2018. Dear Mr. President, this letter is a respect and formal notification of my decision effective July 31st of this year to end my regular active status as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, while continuing to serve in a senior status as provided in 28 USC 371B. For a member of the legal profession, it is the highest of honors to serve on this court. Please permit me by this letter to express my profound gratitude for having had the privilege to seek in each case how best to know, interpret, and defend the Constitution and the laws that must always conform to its mandates and promises respectfully and sincerely. Anthony M. Kennedy. Yeah. He sent him a letter. His choice? Remember, Kennedy was the swing vote. No more. Locked and loaded. RBG next. Q. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Yeah. All right. Then we got 1606. 1606 is the hearing of Peter Strzok and the other hating frauds at the FBI and DOJ should be shown to the public on live television, not a closed-door hearing that nobody will see. We should expose these people for what they are. There should be total transparency. Agreed. Yep. I really don't want to go into the Peter Strzok texts, to be honest with you. All right. 1604, we stand with the good people of Iran who are currently battling their installed regime for freedom. Now, if that does not reflect to the today, I don't know what would. True rule, the people have the power. Rise up and demand they be removed. At some point, military generals will act with the will of the people simply because their soldiers are those same people and have no choice. We stand with you. We are monitoring the situation closely. Stay safe. God bless. Q. We're watching this happen right now. 1604, we are watching this right now. Okay. What happened? They broke the ceasefire by firing on a couple of different ships yesterday, and they blew up 6 of their big ports and munitions and more radar things that they were building, everything. They freaking wiped out a whole bunch. The drone manufacturing area, a drone site. Yeah, they got fucked up. Yep. All right. Let's see. Then we got 1603. If you continue to proceed down this dangerous path, only know that we are prepared. You should know this based on earlier drops regarding Saudi Arabia and National Guard military assets, active U.S. soil. Then you got the game is over when the public knows. The fight to keep the lights off is all that matters to you. You will fail. The American people are awake. You lost control. Sheep no more. You underestimated their resolve and their ability to free think away from the pipeline narrative. We will declass. We will shine light. There is nowhere to hide. No amount of money, influence, and power can stop this. Our rights to secure and protect at all costs then become justified. We stand at the ready, red wave, white squall, in God we trust. If you are smart or stupid, you know what just occurred at the meeting in Russia. Attempts to frame Russia POTUS optics are failing and will soon be exposed. Objective: to keep POTUS away from Putin failed. That was the passing of the ball. You remember the soccer ball? The football? The football? Yeah, the football. You know, just saying. Bolton and Putin should scare you. Well, Bolton just got taken care of, right? Bolton just got taken care of. We're just waiting on his sentencing, okay? And for him to get locked, have his ass locked up. I want to see him walking into the fucking prison, all right? I want to see him being processed. And I think that's fair to ask for. He's a fucking traitor, period. All right? Enemies are allies. Evil has no place here. America is no longer for sale. The age of taxing our citizens across the world while entry to our markets is free is over. The world will unite in this cause. Now, G versus E, R versus W. So I'm thinking Germany versus I don't know. I don't know which ones that is. I don't know. I don't know. I thought maybe somebody might have posted something and would have found it or something. I expect too much, I guess. All right. Forced immigration pushers will be exposed. The why. Read the Bible. God wins. Q. All right. And I already read that one to you. Congrats to the Democrats who, after last night, are officially the party of impeachment, open borders, abolishing ICE, banning the Second Amendment, and unbridled socialism. The Democrat Party of John F. Kennedy is dead. Rest in peace. This tweet struck me as odd, almost as if it were a marker of sorts. And then that's when everything in regards to Saudi Arabia, the National Guard military assets, active on U.S. soil. All right. And then we got 1600 is chatter, trains, buses, be vigilant, Q. So they get around. Fist bumps regarding POTUS Q encounter. Keep up the good fight, Patriot. This will be a very common theme, known only to you. Feel proud, winning, where we go one, we go all. Let's see what the Reddit takes us to. Great Awakening is banned. Wow, that sucks. You suck, Reddit. I'll never use you. Ever. You suck. Yeah, you suck. That's the post for today. Yeah. That's the post for today. We covered something there, right? Right. Yeah. All right. So Julie Donut says, at the fraud summit in Vegas, I was called over by one of the main coordinators of the amazing event. I was specifically told President Trump is watching this fraud fighter summit. I was like, that's so great. A few hours later, he hears us, he sees us, keep showing your love and support. And let's see.
Thank you, President Trump. Oil prices are now plummeting. How do you see this agreement further affecting energy prices in the U.S. and the U.S. economy in the long term? And secondly, Mr. President, how do you think Vice President J.D. Vance did on The View yesterday?
Well, first of all, thank you for the word plummeting, because that's what's happening. Oil prices are plummeting. And that means oil prices are going to come down. You know, if you make donuts, you have a heating, you have a stove, and you have to buy the heat. You
He
need
said
gas
donuts.
or the electricity or whatever you use.
Thank you, President Trump. Oil prices are
Said donuts. Wonder what's up with that. Yeah, just saying. All right. Well, that's where I'm going to end it for today because I got to get out. I got things I got to get done. I do. All right. And it's, yeah. So remember, God loves you. Jesus loves you. I love you. And I will see you guys again tomorrow, probably about the same time. It's going to be a little bit after 11. That's about when I've been finishing up with my stuff. And today I'm going to take you out with the prequel. And this, well, for those of you that are just getting to know me, this is a little bit of my story. And you might get some hints in this as to who I am and what I'm about. See you tomorrow. Peace, love, yogurt. And don't forget to have an outro safety meeting during the prequel. Oh, yeah? All right. We'll catch you tomorrow. Peace.
You see an old man standing here, trying to help his fellow man. A little gray around the edges, coffee cup held in his hand. You hear me talk about kindness, you hear me talk about grace, but you don't know the battle wounds that are written on my face. Everybody sees the ending, but they never saw the storm. The little boy that learned too early, this world can be cruel and torn. Don't mistake my peace for a life without pain. I had every reason to become the same. You really don't want the prequel of my story, the chapters before these pages turn. I walked through a darkness no child should ever learn, but evil didn't own me and hatred didn't win. I chose another pathway instead of giving in. You broke the boy, but you didn't break the man. And by the grace of God, I'm still standing where I am. I know what monsters look like, I've seen the damage they can do. That's why I fight so hard today to protect the innocent and true. That's why I share their pictures, that's why I speak their names, because every child is sacred and no child should wear those chains. I know how silence grows and how predators survive, so I keep my eyes wide open as long as I'm alive. Don't mistake my peace for a life without battles. I know what darkness builds when good men stay quiet. You really don't want the prequel of my story, oh, the chapters before these pages turn. Oh, I walked through a darkness no child should ever learn, but evil didn't own me and hatred didn't kind because life was kind to me. I am kind because I know what happens when pain is left unchecked. I know what darkness can create if we don't choose another path. So I choose to protect, I choose to speak, I choose to love, I choose to fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. You really don't want the prequel of my story, but maybe that's the reason I'm here, to make sure another child never has to carry that fear. My past may explain me, but it will never own me, because evil met a child once, and decades later it found a man who refused to become it. You broke the boy, but you didn't break the man, and you never turned him